They don't want him to be able to shake her down because he does not deserve it from her and all the she went through in this district.
I'm not aware of allegations where Dr. Briggs doing anything to your daughter specifically.
No, it wasn't him specifically.
Racism is very upset that you're ignoring him right now, because he used to be, in his heyday, he used to be an offensive lineman. And so he's used to clearing out the outside. So that's why he went and got Rainey Briggs, because he was trying to clear the way for his daughter to come through, you know, like a rush. His daughter was supposed to hit the hole. Welcome to a Racist of the Week update. My name is Reese Waters. Now, typically this is where we expose the stupidity and hypocrisy of discrimination in hopes we can build a more perfect union and also laugh. As usual, I would like to thank today's sponsor, Racism. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the page and leave me any possible suggestions for nominees in the comments. Now, the difference with the update, sometimes I like to refresh some of the stories that we've covered in this space. And I believe y'all probably remember Matt Eady. It's only been about a week or so. That was the white father who disrupted his daughter's high school graduation ceremony by rushing the stage and shoving the black superintendent.
Oh,
You're not.
excuse me. Where's Brendan?
Man, you better get up
Where's
off me,
Brendan?
man.
Where's Brendan?
Get away from me, bro.
No, don't.
Hey, you need to get, hey,
Walk away.
You gotta go. I will get off. Out right now. I don't want her to touch me. I don't care. Get off the stage right now. Get off.
Well, now he is outright denying that his actions were racially motivated. Now, Matt Eady didn't attend a court hearing recently in person, but his lawyer, Carl Gebhardt III, spoke on his behalf, making it clear the incident had nothing to do with race. Quote, "My client understands the concerns about racism. What happened on May 31st had nothing to do with race." Briggs also revealed to the Daily Mail that Eady's lawyer had reached out to express remorse a day earlier. However, Briggs remained firm in his stance, stating that an apology ain't gonna cut it. Quote, "An apology just doesn't make things go away. I don't think an apology and I'm sorry makes this go away because there's a lot of harm that was caused." Now, with respect to court interests, I understand that an open case is not something that you want to be discussing out in the open, but I have never needed an attorney to dismiss allegations of racism. I don't know that anybody that I've ever known has needed an attorney to deny that their actions were in fact racist. Hey man, my bad, it wasn't racist. I don't know that that would get you in any legal trouble, so I'm not exactly sure what the whole hiding behind the attorney is. And if there's one thing that we know about him, he's definitely not shy.
Oh.
So I'm not going to give him the, well, he's not a public person. He's very private, so he's going to use his lawyer to do the talking for him. Oh yeah, because that was a very private person that ran up on stage and announced himself to America. Now, Superintendent Rainey Briggs was in court seeking a restraining order against Eady, which the court granted. The incident occurred during the graduation ceremony at Baraboo High School, where Eady, 49, disrupted the event by rushing the stage to prevent Briggs from shaking his daughter's hand. Eady later explained that his actions were driven by anger over the school's treatment of his daughter, who had been expelled for undisclosed disciplinary reasons. Now, during the hearing, Briggs presented videos showing Eady forcibly stopping him from shaking hands with his daughter as he was about to receive her diploma. Eady could be heard saying, quote, "You're not going to touch my effing daughter." The judge issued a 4-year restraining order with penalties for violations, including a $10,000 fine and up to 90 days in jail if violated. Now, I will restate something that I mentioned in the initial video, which, by the way, the description will include the link to that. I have never known you to hold a school superintendent, the superintendent of the district, responsible for disciplinary reasons. That is a new one. That is a new one. I've heard the teacher. I have heard the principal. I have even heard the guidance counselor. I've heard other kids. I've heard other kids' parents. At no point have I ever heard the superintendent. And you know what? I wish I knew that as a kid. I wish I knew that. You know what, Mama? No, it wasn't. See, the superintendent. That's really who is the superintendent of the whole school district who is responsible for breaking that window. Yeah, he encourages my truancy. I also find it odd that it wasn't as if you took issue with the superintendent in a general way. You specifically removed him from stage and didn't want him touching your daughter. Ooh, that seems a scant racist, right? That just seems a scant racist. I don't want you to touch this man. That was the issue, was the touching, right? Was the touching, because we don't have a history here in America of issues of touching between interracial groups. That's never really been a thing. And I also love, if you wanted to stand on business, right? I want to stand on business. I have issues with how he conducted himself. How are you conducting yourself where you feel like you have the audacity to go up on stage and remove him? You didn't bring your daughter off stage. You didn't tell her, I don't want her. You removed him. She's going to have her moment, but I'm going to remove you. And oh yes, my behavior will not take away from her moment at all, right? Because the only person that can see me is Rainey Briggs. Now, Briggs, by the way, testified that the restraining order was necessary not only for his own safety, but also for the safety of his family, colleagues, and students he interacts with daily, saying, quote, "The break in safety and civility is unprecedented in our work as educators." He expressed sympathy for those disrupted by the incident, including Edie's daughter and the 3,000 attendees at the ceremony, saying, "My heart goes out to his students, to his daughter, and to everybody in attendance that night. Hopefully these things can be resolved in some positive way." So I see that Briggs is taking the high road and extending some grace to the audience, because they was cheering, and I wasn't exactly sure why, because I had brought up what had happened with the high school just a couple of years earlier. Meanwhile, Edie's lawyer described his actions as those of an immature and upset father, emphasizing that Edie did not harm or intimidate Briggs, saying, "The truth here is we have a father who was upset with how his daughter was treated by the district, and particularly the superintendent. My client's actions are immature, patronizing, and incredibly embarrassing, but immature acts are not harassment." Okay, so if running up on stage and removing the superintendent and saying, "You're not touching my effing daughter," so if that's not harassment, and it's not harm, and it's not intimidation, what was it?
That's assault. That is assault.
Huh? What was it? I mean, you have taken a lot off the table. What exactly was it, if not harm, harassment, or intimidation? Was it horseplay? Is that what it is? Was he playing? Was it a loving embrace? I'm trying to figure out what you have left on the table for me. And it's not helped that Edie himself initially tried to claim that Briggs touched him first.
Again, I didn't see what happened, so I don't know what the physicality of it was. Was it a body block? I mean, what are we talking about?
Exactly. That's all it was.
Was there pushing? Was there shoving?
Not till me got put his hands on me. I didn't come up to him like, knock him out or push him down.
I need to know, in what world you can run up on stage, remove somebody, actually say, "I don't want you touching my daughter," and feel like you would touch first. That is a level of delusion that we need to investigate as a society. That doesn't even obey the laws of physics. For you to run up on stage and then everybody shifts backwards into the left, but you were touched first. I think you should go back to school, sir. I think you deserve the seat that your daughter just vacated, either by graduation or suspension. You should go ahead and get that seat. And by the way, Rainey Briggs should remain the superintendent as well, in charge of your schooling. By the way, since the initial video, we actually have another angle just to cement that point. Now, Edie's lawyer was particularly sensitive to the claim the incident was racially motivated, noting that Edie would have reacted similarly regardless of who the superintendent was. Now, that might make some sense if you had beef with the superintendent specifically, except
They don't want him to be able to shake her down because he don't really deserve it from her. And all the she went through in this district.
I'm not aware of allegations where Dr. Briggs doing anything to your daughter specifically.
No, it wasn't him specifically.
Okay.
in his own words, he does not have a specific beef with the superintendent. But that was who he decided to run up on stage and put his hands on and shove out of line and say, "You're not gonna touch my effing daughter." I'm running out of excuses. I mean, really, like, you want to tell me it's not racism, but he's saying that he put his hands on her first, which we know is a lie, so your credibility is shot. And then you see that you don't even have a specific beef with this particular dude. So racism is very upset that you're ignoring him right now. What do you want? Oh, well, see, no, because he used to be, in his heyday, he used to be an offensive lineman. And so he's used to clearing out the outside. So that's why he went and got Rainey Briggs, because he was trying to clear the way for his daughter to come through, like a rush. His daughter was supposed to hit the hole, after he blocked and cleared the way. I got nothing. I got nothing for you. Now, Briggs himself acknowledged that while the optics were poor, he never directly accused Edie of racism. We're just gonna let the video speak for itself, saying, quote, "What I did say is that the optics don't look good." And I wanna be very clear that the optics don't look good, given it wasn't specifically Dr. Briggs that did something, but Dr. Briggs was the one that was attacked. Exactly. Now, following the confrontation, Edie was escorted out of the building and arrested for disorderly conduct. He blamed school officials for his daughter's expulsion, though Briggs clarified he had no role in disciplinary actions and didn't even recognize Edie during the incident, saying, quote, "I wouldn't have been able to pick this guy out of any crowd. It wasn't until after that I was able to pull his name up in the system to see who this was." Shocking, his name was up in the system. I wonder, what's Edie's side of the story?
She was expelled for doing the same thing that was done to her, and nothing happened to the previous people. And we then had the meeting in here with him, the school board.
Like an expulsion hearing?
Yeah. And he was rolling his eyes when I brought up the fact that the same thing happened to her. And you.
So that's why you made this scene. That is why you made this scene, because you were mad that she was disciplined for something you don't deny even that she did, but just claiming that other people did it too. Now, I felt bad for her before for having to grow up in this house, but knowing that this is an acceptable explanation for you that other people were doing it too, that is the kind of thing that kids tell to parents, not the kind of thing that parents tell to police. Now, at a school board meeting, members condemned Edie's actions and defended the superintendent. Although Briggs didn't attend, he stated he has no plans to step down from his leadership role. Edie denied pre-planning the episode and told police he even walked out when Briggs gave his speech. However, he was seen pacing by the bleachers before rushing in front of the stage to clap for his daughter, then leaping over the steps to reach Briggs. Kind of sounds planned to me. Kind of sound planned to me. Sound like you getting your energy up like Sonic the Hedgehog. This is the rare moment where you are better off just getting in your car and leaving. Typically, I don't tell people to run away from their problems. You should have ran away from this problem. I don't think that I've ever considered a scenario ever before in my life where it would have been better for a parent to leave their child's graduation. But you are the first, sir. You are the first. She would have been better off. Everybody would have been better off if you would have abandoned the graduation or just made up an excuse why you couldn't be there in the first place. I gotta go down to the foundry. Whatever it is, would have been better off than what you did. Now, the confrontation occurred amid broader tensions within the school district, Superintendent Briggs, and the school board that faced criticism from a group of outraged residents. They're currently trying to recall school board president Kevin Vodak, who was present at the graduation. Vodak has been accused of favoritism and failing to provide adequate pay and support for teachers. Critics have also pointed to a high turnover of staff during Briggs' tenure. But guess who nobody put their hands on? Huh? Guess who didn't get shoved out of line or body blocked? School board president Kevin Vodak. Yes, that is correct. Briggs also faced scrutiny over his salary and the contracts awarded to his consulting firms. That doesn't shock me at all. What's his brother making all this money? You know what? He driving a brand new car. I mean, not new, but it was since 2020. Briggs, while acknowledging the disruption caused by the incident, expressed hope for a positive resolution. But there won't be one to this video. Congratulations, Matt Eady. After reviewing the footage, you are still a Racist of the Week nominee. However, the good news is that you were beaten out in the voting by Byron Donalds and by Donald Trump. And also, according to unemployed TikToker Lily Gaddis, you have a bright future in conservative media. Links to all those videos are in the description. As always, if you have somebody you'd like to nominate, leave it in the comments. You can email me at reese.waters@gmail.com, and be sure to subscribe to the page to make sure you get notified when the next video drops.
And I said it to a large African-American group of people 4 years ago. What the hell do you have to lose? You're the worst in income. You're the worst on crime. Your cities and your areas are being decimated. You can't get a home. You can't get mortgage. You can't get, they're last on it. What the hell do you have to lose?
Saying it after you were president for 4 years is insane, because we already saw what we have to lose. Like, you gave us 4 years of evidence. I'm losing stuff I didn't even know was on the table to be lost. Hi, my name is Reese Waters, and I'm troubled. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the page. Now, as we get closer to not only the 2024 election, but also the first potential debate, and I say potential, we'll see if he shows up, between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, Trump's outreach to black voters has gotten sad. I mean, it has really gotten sad. Like, each time they reach out, it just gets worse and worse and worse. Now, a lot of you guys sent me this video, so I knew I had to respond to it. These were recent comments he made this weekend right here in Washington, D.C. Before he could reach out his orange Cheeto-covered hand to black voters, he had to at least make sure everybody knew that he had the cops back.
We're going to rebuild our cities into beacons of hope, safety, and beauty better than they have ever been before. Right now, they're killing fields, our cities.
Are they really? Because every indication that I've gotten, not only from local jurisdictions, but also from the Department of Justice, says that crime is down, actually historically so, in 2023 as well as in 2024. This must be what it's like to be Maga. Like, he just will say anything. I've wondered how you get into the mindset of a MAGA. Like, okay, now I get it.
We're going to give back our law enforcement. We're going to give them back the respect that they deserve. They are being treated so badly.
Well, let's see. You just said that our cities were killing fields, so you're obviously not giving them the blame for that. But naturally, if crime were down, like if your narrative is that crime was down, they would definitely get all the credit for that. So they get all the credit for that but clearly none of the blame for this. Sounds like they're being treated pretty well.
If they do something that's harsh to stop a crime, they end up losing their pension, they end up losing their job, they end up losing their family and their home.
Who? Huh? Who's this? I need to know who you're talking about. I need Derek Chauvin? Like, who are these officers that are losing all of these things? Just for the sake of discussion, former Chicago Police Commander John Burge, after decades of routine and systemic torture, was given his pension. He was given his pension. The city of Chicago paid millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars, in order to rectify what he did, but he kept his pension. So who are you talking about?
I mean, we have some police forces where they make you go out and get a lawyer to defend yourself. They won't defend you. You have to hire your own lawyer.
No, I can't. I absolutely cannot. The police union has that much power for a reason. So no, I cannot believe that. And I'm sure, given the reluctant DAs in prosecuting, would be able to recommend a good one.
And I'm giving immunity to police all over the country for that.
Wait, you're going to give immunity to police who we have not had the police reform in order to deal with qualified immunity, which they still hold. So you're going to give immunity to police that have immunity. So we're going to give them like a double immunity. You know what I mean? It's like taking a whole bottle of echinacea. You know, that's what that's like. That's like taking a whole bunch of emergencies when you are healthy, like double immunity. That's what we doing.
We will take over the horribly run capital of our nation in Washington, D.C. It is so badly run.
I wonder why he thinks the Capitol is so horribly run. I wonder, what could it be? What could it be why he thinks the Capitol is so horribly run?
And we will clean it, renovate it, and rebuild our capital city so that it is no longer a nightmare of murder and crime.
I can tell you, I want no parts of a Trump renovation. I want no parts of Trump, because he don't pay his contractors. He don't pay, because they're going to try and clean up the city, and they're going to do the job halfway, and they're just going to leave because they didn't get paid. And then we just got a bunch of debris right in the middle of the city. And then they're going to have to change the name like they do with most of his properties. Oh, look at that. Is that murder and crime? Oh, no, that's a bush. Oh, look at that. Is that murder, crime? No. Oh, no, that's a half smoke.
But we're not going to have this capital of ours that we love and cherish be a victim.
Well, I can tell you in all honesty, us here in Washington, D.C. are absolutely victims and have been victims for decades of the overreach of the federal government, especially those on the right side of the aisle who use it as a proxy war to stick it to Democrats and black and brown people. They have been doing that forever, to the point where things that we vote for, that we want, we can't get unless they approve it. Oh, we've been victims for a long time of y'all.
In itself, of all of the murder and crime that's taking place, I lost a man who was a great person. Everyone loved him. It was a carjacking. He was waiting for his wife, and somebody came out. Didn't even give him a warning, just said, just took a gun, shot him through the head 5 months ago. Shot him through the head. The wife is walking out. He was picking up the wife from work. Shot him through the head, dumped him into the street, took the car. They caught him. Wow,
that's a terrible story. I look forward to hearing the details. I'm assuming this is a specific, somebody close to you, as you said, somebody. This isn't like a State of the Union speech where you just mention things off the cuff that have happened at some point in life. I'm assuming somebody close to you that you know.
And you know he'll be protected by all sorts of things. Those people get protected. We don't get protected, but they get protected.
Those people get protected. Who? Who exactly is it that's getting protected? I'm trying to figure who gets protected. This poor people? Because we know the criminal justice system is always so good to poor people. Is this black people black and brown? Is you talking about minorities? Is that because we get protected by the criminal justice system? Is that what you're trying to sell to me right now? Huh? I'm trying to figure out who's the they who gets protected, because you are the one that's walking around with all these indictments. You are the one that's walking around with all these credible allegations from women. That is you. They couldn't be free right now to campaign with your resume of crime. So I'm trying to figure out who the they is who get protected.
On day one, I will sign a new executive order to cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory.
Wait a minute. Did you just jump to critical race theory? So you just jumped to critical race theory. First of all, you didn't even close the loop on that story, right? That story of that person who was, you just lost somebody, right? You just lost somebody. You launched into that story. You said shot in the head about 18 times. You just launched into that story, didn't close the loop on that, said they would be protected, and then jumped to critical race theory. I'm trying to follow the through line, because you said that they get protected, and then you jump to critical race theory. So that makes me think that you're saying that black people get protected. Is that what you think? You think black people get protected by the criminal justice system? Oh, this black outreach is going well.
On day one, I will sign a new executive order to cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory, transgender insanity, and other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content onto the lives of our children.
Yes, he definitely just changed the subject. He 1,000% just changed the subject and told us exactly who the they was. He didn't want to say it because he knew the next thing is he was going to do a BS outreach to black people. So yeah, I can't say it, but I'm going to just say, I'm going to attack critical race theory right after. Yeah, that's a good plan.
And I will shut down the Federal Department of Education, and we will move everything back to the states where it belongs and where they can individualize education and do it with the love for their children.
Now let's break down what he means here. He wants to kick it back to the states, and kick it back to the states is a way for you to deconstruct it without having your hands on it, because you understand that most of the states are run by red governments. You see what they've done to education in Florida. You see what they've done to education in Alabama. You see what they've done to education in Mississippi. That's what we're talking about, with the love and care for the students, the white students. Yeah, because we don't want them to feel bad about what we did. So we just won't tell them.
You know the expression? And I said it to a large African-American group of people 4 years ago. What the hell do you have to lose?
Wait a minute. You said that 4 years ago, but you also said it in 2016, before you were president. It would have made sense then. Saying it after you were president for 4 years is insane, because we already saw what we have to lose. Like, you gave us 4 years of evidence of what we have to lose, because we lost it all during the course of that 4 years. Like, what are you talking about? How do you ask us what do we have to lose after you were already president and we've seen everything that we have to lose? What's wrong with you?
What the hell do you have to lose?
Well, there is the obvious, but beyond that, I'm losing stuff I didn't even know was on the table to be lost. Like, I didn't know that Brown versus Board of Education was on the table. I didn't know that Roe v. Wade was on the table. I'm losing stuff I didn't even know could be lost. Like having the teacher call me and say, I'm sorry, we've had a polio outbreak at school. Like, didn't we eradicate that? Matter of fact, they brought that back too.
You're the worst in income. You're the worst on crime. Your cities and your areas are being decimated. You can't get a home. You can't get mortgage. You can't get, they're last on it. I said, and the Democrats have for 100 years run these cities, 100 years. I said to them, what the hell do you have to lose?
Okay, so we're worse in income when it comes to jobs. Now they seek to try and rectify that with some of the diversity, equity, and inclusion programs that your people love to attacked so much. And then you get to crime, and that comes with opportunity that doesn't get extended to people in our situation, as we know, and that's something they also are trying to close down with their attacks on DEI. And then you come to housing, and the audacity of a man who had to be sued for housing discrimination to talk about we can't get housing. I know what it feels like to be MAGA. Like I really feel very MAGA-ish right now.
Now I'm going over this list. Every single thing was bad. I said, what do you have to lose?
Every damn thing. Every damn thing. Have you seen Project 2025? You may not have, actually, Trump. You actually may not have. I know they put a battery in your back and send you in various directions. I have you speaking in front of Christians, and you can't even name a book of the Bible. Like, I know that they don't tell you everything, but I implore you to check out Project 2025. There's a whole lot on the table, and there's a whole lot left to be lost. Who knows where this Supreme Court going?
If you took the 10 worst presidents in the history of the United States and added them up, they would not have done near the destruction to our country as crooked Joe Biden and the Biden administration have done. He's crooked. He's a total thief.
This man, political Cat Williams over here. He just say anything. Well, thankfully, I can have a little bit of gratitude that his opinion of black people is so low that he thinks that this little 2 minutes of outreach where he says we're the worst at everything disinvolves his hands in any of it, like he wasn't president, still going with what do you have to lose, like he didn't run the country for 4 years, sandwiched in between attacks on CRT and giving cops complete immunity. He thinks that little morsel of love and acknowledgement, and that's how he sees it, is enough to land with some of us. That is how low his opinion is of black people. And I have a lot of gratitude, because if he would have tried harder, he might have made some inroads. If he would have tried at all, he might have made some inroads. But this is where we are with the Donald Trump black experience. Speaking at the black church filled with white people and going immediately to white boy summer. If that day was a speech, it was right here.
Do I believe in myself? 100% I do. And so, we'll see what President Trump decides. I'm going to support whatever he does.
It's a shame. It's a shame. Uh-oh.
I just love you.
Don Jr. asked what was it about J.D. Vance. The first thing he said was he liked the way J.D. Vance was on TV.
Hi, my name is Reese Waters, and I'm troubled. I'm just playing. I'm just playing. I am not troubled. Today is a momentous occasion. I get to drag Tim Scott and Byron Donalds to the white meat for months of shuffling for no job. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the page. Now, as you guys, I'm sure, are well aware, Ohio's J.D. Vance has been announced as Donald Trump's running mate for the 2024 election. And I would like to congratulate the good people of Ohio. Hopefully you can finally get J.D. Vance out the paint. The better way would have been to, vote for somebody else. But, you do what you can. You take the wins wherever you can take the wins. Tim Scott, what you doing here?
I don't know what went into that process. I met the criteria to be selected, but I wasn't.
I know, man. I know. I mean, this is bad. I mean, he picked J.D. Vance despite what he said about him.
This is an evolution, and I know you've been asked about this before, about past comments that you've made about Donald Trump. You've said, I'm a never Trump guy, never liked him, terrible candidate, idiot if you voted for him, might be America's Hitler, might be a cynical a-hole, cultural heroine, noxious and reprehensible.
And that's not to mention his whole idea of family.
And this is one of the great tricks that I think the sexual revolution pulled on the American populace, which is this idea that, like, well, okay, these marriages were fundamentally, you know, they were maybe even violent, but certainly they were unhappy. And so getting rid of them and making it easier for people to shift spouses like they change their underwear, that's going to make people happier in the long term. And maybe it worked out for the moms and dads, though I'm skeptical, but it really didn't work out for the kids.
You've been buck dancing for months, and he just up and picks J.D. Vance despite all of that. I mean, this is bad. Even Nikki Haley and them got jokes. Which honestly makes a little bit of sense given how she helped you and you treated her.
Although there's a lot of tension, obviously, between President Trump and Governor Haley. That makes sense as they're headed to the showdown in South Carolina. But he says things like she may not be eligible to run, suggesting she wasn't born in the U.S., which she was. He calls her bird brain. He made comments about her husband being on military deployment as if he was trying to get away from her. Wall Street Journal says this: he seems to have forgotten, if he ever cared, that he will need some of her admirers to vote for him in November, talking about centrist Republicans, independents, even Democrats who voted for her. Is President Trump writing them off? Where does he think her supporters will go if he continues to attack her like that?
Well, there's no doubt that the race has gotten kind of challenging without any question. Listen, the rhetoric coming out of the Haley camp, talking about people's age. We see the Haley camp in the family referring to me as Judas Iscariot. We're hearing a lot of chatter out of the Haley camp, not only just matching the rhetoric from the Trump side, but actually going further. Why? Because they're desperate.
Did you ever think that she actually appointed you, Tim? And think of it, appointed, and you're the senator of his state, and she endorsed me. You must really hate her. No, it's a shame. It's a shame. Uh-oh.
I just love you.
No, that's good. That's why he's a great politician.
You told another man you loved him and had your fiance out here all by herself. Hell, you got a fiance. That was part of your role, and you fully committed to it.
Senator Tim Scott, who on August the 3rd will become a father himself, I will tell you in advance, it is the best yet most expensive form of entertainment you can possibly have. So happy early Father's Day to you. Happy Father's Day to your dad.
Thank you,
and
sir.
Thank you for joining us on a Sunday night.
Wow. Wow. I mean, and based on what JD said, y'all got to stay together now. Yeah, it's not even your choice. There's a baby involved. Tim, I mean, hopefully you're not too angry because we've seen what it looks like when you get angry.
I can't believe the hoax, this sham, this absolute injustice justice system. D.A. Bragg and the judge should be ashamed of themselves. This isn't just ridiculous. This actually erodes the confidence that Americans have in the justice system. Unbelievable. Unfreaking believable. But good news is coming. D.A. Bragg, hear me clearly. You cannot silence the American people. You cannot stop us from voting for change. Joe Biden's injustice, Joe Biden's two-tier injustice system, weaponizing the justice system of the United States of America against a political opponent, un-American. Joe Biden, you're fired. We the people stand with Donald Trump.
Wait, what's that? Can you come home? You know what? Let me ask.
Man, hell no!
It looks like a no for me, dog. I mean, Tim, you was out here denying basic racism.
You would be the first black Republican VP on the ticket. How do you feel?
Well, I think it's exciting, no matter the outcome. It's the evolution of the Southern heart that we see on display. And we Southerners get so little credit for the progress we've made. The whole notion of judging a person on the content of their character, not the color of their skin, has happened. It's not going to happen. It's not around the corner. It's in the rearview mirror. We are living Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s dream.
You didn't even acknowledge the whole black jobs comment.
The president used a phrase I hadn't heard before. Maybe he's used it, maybe you've heard this, but he used a phrase saying that immigrants are coming into this country, undocumented immigrants, and they're taking black jobs and Hispanic jobs. What did he mean by that phrase, black jobs and Hispanic? What exactly does he mean? And does he mean low-wage jobs? And why not just say low-wage jobs? Why does he have to insert race and or ethnicity into it?
I got to tell you, the thing I thought was incredibly powerful on the issue of immigration was when President Trump said that we see our veterans homeless on the streets.
I'm gonna be real though, Tim. You can't be that mad. I mean, he did tell you you were better for him than you were for yourself.
I have to say, this is in a very positive way, Tim Scott. He has been much better for me than he was for himself. I watched his campaign.
He literally told you what it was. What's that smell? Hey, Byron Donalds, what's going on, man? How you feeling?
Let's agree on something. I am, obviously one of the better communicators in the Republican Party. I know how to put words together. I do it very, very often. So I'm not going to say something that I do not agree with.
Well, apparently that's not true.
One at a time, murders in Milwaukee are down 39% since last year. And the Trump campaign's own election investigator in 2020 said that Wisconsin's results were legit. So if Mr. Trump feels so strongly that Milwaukee is a horrible city, why is he having his convention there?
Well, two things. First of all, when you bring these comments up, please bring them in context. I'm glad that you mentioned what the campaign said afterwards, but I noticed that your network and a lot of the press are not doing that. With respect to Milwaukee, he was talking about allegations of voter fraud and also the crime rate.
He didn't mean it was a horrible city, just the crime, the ways in which people say it's a horrible city. I need to know, Byron, because I don't think anybody else in the history of colors knows what it feels like to dredge up Jim Crow just to curry favor and still not get the job. I don't think any of us has ever gone to those lengths. I need to know how that feels.
During Jim Crow, the black family was together.
That's right.
During Jim Crow, more black people were not just conservative, because black people always have been conservative-minded, but more black people voted conservatively. And then H.E.W., Lyndon Johnson, and then you go down that road, and now we are where we are.
Trump had you singled out at a Blacks for Trump event like the last Cocoa Puff. That man had you stuffed into a barbershop chair, listening to him talk about how much we loved his mugshot.
But since this has happened, like the mugshot is the best. It just beat Elvis Presley and Frank Sinatra by a lot, by the way. Beat him by a lot. But that's the number one mugshot of all time. It's really an amazing thing. Since it happened, the support among the black community and the Hispanic community has skyrocketed.
Then he almost got you monkey stomped at that Atlanta cigar shop thanks to Wesley Hunt and his jigger boots.
Because only in America you have 3 black children matriculate through the premier leadership institution of the entire world and graduate from there and live in a barracks named after a Confederate general. Only in America. And if it were named anything differently, I wouldn't have that perspective. Do you think I support the Confederacy? Don't kid yourself. Of course I don't. Excuse me? Wow. Of course I don't. See, this is what happened to you last time. This is what happened to you last time. I'm trying to have a nuanced conversation.
You don't forget about where you from. Don't paint the picture
Don't tell us that we can't educate our kids on the opportunity. We're talking about vouchers. You're talking about things that's still going to cost more money.
The point I'm making is that I actually do understand.
You don't
I totally
understand. It's
recognize
obvious.
the value of
It's
that.
obvious.
And what I want to say is, at no point in time will I ever be a victim. That's why I'm
Everybody
sitting
has a
here right
story, is my
now. And
point.
I don't care what the name
What
of
are
the
you
statue
going to
was,
do?
and I don't care what the name of the
Everybody
building
has
is.
an opinion. What are you going to do?
I don't care what the name of the building is because
I'm a black dad. This is a
I am
conversation
not.
for black men, and all I hear is people that are non-black trying to hush me.
Now, I'll be honest with you, Tim, Byron, y'all should have known. I mean, really, y'all should have known. I don't know what part of Donald Trump's history made you think he was going to pick a black VP. Somebody that actually would be one step away from the presidency. Y'all really thought that he was going to pick one of us for that no matter what you did? This man didn't even believe that America was ready to receive a black winner of The Apprentice. And you thought he was going to select a black winner of the VP? Come on now. He didn't birtherism for nothing. What y'all been paying attention to? Now, both of y'all spiritually homeless and got nowhere to go home to. The only place y'all can go back to is back to him.
You could not live with your own failure. Where did that bring you? Back to me.
But at least there's company. I mean, you can hang out with the rest of the rejected black friends.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Trump. Happy birthday.
I support Trump against this corrupt, two-tiered justice system.
And of course, at least y'all have each other.
I know, man. It hurt me too. Come here, man.
Trump brought Project 2025 to the wedding, thinking it was going to be a side piece and nobody was going to know. And now all the photos just hit the timeline and he got an answer for it. Well, I will tell you this, Trump, you should be used to getting yourself out of scrapes like that. Welcome to Street Politics. My name is Reese Waters. Now, by now, I assume most people watching have heard of Project 2025.
Project 2025 is a far-right manifesto. It is a 1,000-page bucket list of extremist policies that would uproot every government agency and disrupt the lives of every person who calls this country home. The Department of Education would be eliminated, cutting students off from civil rights protections and ending essential Title I funding for K-12 schools. The Department of Justice would go on a murdering spree. It would rush to use the death penalty and expand its use to even more people while circumventing due process protections. Project 25 not only calls for national book bans in schools, but also creates a list of banned words for the federal government that would be deleted from, quote, every federal rule, agency regulation, contract, grant, and piece of legislation that exists. End quote. Here are just a few of the words on the list: diversity, gender, reproductive health, and of course, conservatives want to ban the word abortion. On that note, abortion care would be inaccessible and illegal no matter where you live. Now, we could have an entire hearing on how these policies would quite literally ruin and end lives, and I didn't even touch upon proposals for housing, climate change, worker protections, and more. If enacted, Project 2025 would destroy the federal government as we know it.
Now, the link to that video is in the description, and if you haven't heard of Project 2025, it is basically the transition plan for a second Trump presidency. See, they were not prepared for Trump to win in 2016, although, to be fair, nobody was prepared for Trump to win in 2016. Hillary wasn't prepared. We, the people, were not prepared. I don't even think the animals were prepared for Trump to win in 2016, which actually makes sense because nobody thought they would roll back environmental protections the way that they did. Now, thanks to many on the left wing for sounding the alarm, and of course, DC's own Taraji P. Henson, more people than ever are trying to find out what the GOP has in store.
It seems like a lot of people are starting to pick up on the project and its proposals, thanks to warnings like this one from host Taraji P. Henson at this week's BET Awards.
See, this is why we can't allow plus ones to the cookout. This is exactly why we can't allow plus ones to the cookout. Chris, you cool, but what did you call her? Taraji Beat Henson? Like, did you give her a breakdancer name?
This one from host Taraji B. Henson.
You ain't seen Empire? You ain't seen when Terrence Howard threw Jussie in the trash can? You ain't seen Hustle and Flow, Talk to Me, Hidden Figures? You ain't seen Baby Boy? Jody? All right, Chris, I'll let you finish.
This one from host Taraji B. Henson at this week's BET Awards.
Pay attention. It's not a secret. Look it up. They are attacking our most vulnerable citizens. The Project 2025 plan is not a game. Look it up.
According to some reports, the project actually began trending on Google immediately after those comments. But even with the new influx of attention, I still think the details of Project 2025 are undercovered relative to how absolutely unhinged they are, even by the standards of today's Republican Party. And I think this portion of Project 2025, the authoritarian plots to purge the civil service, replace it all with MAGA loyalists, like deep down into the government, is getting most of the attention, and for good reason. But there's so much more to Project 2025, including, again, a whole bunch of fringe, hard-right culture war stuff. So, for instance, unsurprisingly, the document calls for a full-out, whole-of-government approach to the assault on reproductive rights on women. For conservatives to gratefully celebrate the greatest pro-family win in a generation, overturning Roe v. Wade. It includes an effective abortion ban by calling for the FDA, right? They're going to appoint people to the FDA who suddenly announce, oh, you can't have a medication abortion. Reverse its approval of chemical abortion drugs like mifepristone, which is used in the majority of all abortions in this country. And again, in red and blue states where abortion is legal or not. And to be clear, there's no absolutely justification for this, right? Mifepristone has been used safely for decades. This is not a scientific determination. They're going to put some apparatchik into charge of FDA to do this. Project 2025 wants to take it away, citing in part the hundreds of thousands to millions of babies whose lives have been unjustly taken through chemical abortion. The document goes further than FDA approval, calls on the Department of Justice to criminalize sending the pill through the mail under the Comstock Act, an archaic anti-obscenity law from the 19th century, which has been rendered largely unenforceable in subsequent decades. In addition to the abortion pill, Project 2025 also wants to strip the mandate for free emergency contraception from Obamacare. And look, Republicans are not going to stop until they have all but eliminated access to reproductive health care in this country, full stop.
Now, here's the part where I have to ask myself, why is it that they are so obsessed with reproductive freedoms? Why are they so obsessed with abortion and contraception? Now, a cynical man would think this wouldn't have anything to do with that great replacement theory now, would it? Would this have anything to do with repopulating the country to turn the tide of the culture war against what you see as rampant black and brown expansion? Would this happen to have anything to, no, that would be cynical of me. But then again, if you are so encouraging of new life, then naturally you would be at the forefront of making sure that our social services are funded and expanded in order to make sure that all of these new babies that we're popping out have a fair chance to grow and thrive and achieve the American dream. Because as long as they're going to stay impoverished and prevented from having a fair chance at a decent education, or at least anything that approaches what you're giving the 1%, you know, the people that are making these kinds of decisions, then really all you're doing is creating an expanded underclass to fill up your jails and the front lines of your wars. But of course, you could go ahead and prove me wrong by deciding to completely contradict all of your prior stances on literally any of the services that might help improve the life of these new babies.
Don't worry, I'll wait.
What is the right wing's obsession with other people's bedrooms? I mean, if it's not LGBTQ, now it's abortion. Here is contraception. Really, can't y'all mind? Y'all need some more action. Clearly it's not enough going on in these right-wing bedrooms. I mean, really? Y'all need a swinger summer camp or something?
Document also calls for all federal laws, grants, regulations, and contracts to delete every instance of the terms sexual orientation and gender identity, diversity, equity, inclusion, gender equality, gender equity, gender awareness, gender sensitive, abortion, reproductive health, and reproductive rights, saying their use deprives Americans of their First Amendment rights. Reproductive health. It demands the Department of Health and Human Services immediately put an end to the department's foray into woke transgender activism. And get this, I don't think people know this, but people should. Pornography should be outlawed, and the people who produce and distribute it should be imprisoned.
I have no problem with that. That is totally fine by me. Hold on one second. I got to check on one thing. Okay, we good. All right, now naturally, as people have began to open their eyes to the possibility of Pornhub going away, this has become quite the political liability. Oh, okay. Well, if you say so, Trump. Wait, what's that? Oh, no. Hey, Trump, we got a problem. Apparently, Trump's name appears in Project 2025 manifesto 312 times. And then there's the fact that his own press secretary is actually in recruitment ads for Project 2025. There is the fact that his super PAC is running ads promoting Project 2025, calling it Trump's Project 2025. And last but not least, one of his top aides, John McEntee, being the guy behind Project 2025. Even the head of the Heritage Foundation, Kevin Roberts, gave you the credit, Trump.
Our Project 2025 has developed a comprehensive policy agenda, but even more importantly, recruiting people, 20,000 people to go into the next administration, hopefully, to help take back this country for you and for your audiences. We want no credit. We want the American people, if President Trump is elected again, President Trump and his administration, to take credit for that. But it will also be a great sign, if all of this is successful, that in fact, as we know in our prayer time, but maybe not every time when we're watching the news, that the Lord is still smiling upon America.
Now, what we have here is a simple confusion of whether or not Project 2025 was supposed to be a political wife or a political side piece. Is this supposed to be something that you parade around as something that you hang your hat on and what you're willing to offer the public? Or is this something that you're just trying to slide in at 2 a.m. when you hope nobody's looking? See, Trump is acting like it's a political side piece. He's trying to act like it's something he's trying to slide in. But everybody else is acting like this is the landmark legislation. We want everybody to know about this. This is like Trump just brought the political side piece to the wedding. Yeah, Trump brought Project 2025 to the wedding, thinking it was going to be a side piece and nobody was going to know, and now all the photos just hit the timeline and he got an answer for it. Well, I will tell you this, Trump, you should be used to getting yourself out of scrapes like that. Now this is bad. This is very, very bad. Now, this will only be worse if you yourself had acknowledged the project.
Your organization is named the Heritage Foundation, because you understand that our glorious heritage is the foundation of everything we hope to achieve.
I'm so happy to be here at the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, because I have always said nationally that I only associate with people who want to advance the colorment of people. I'm so grateful to be here at the Black Caucus. because I love black. Is that really the man that one of our major political parties is putting up for the presidency? I mean, Trump. The only thing you can do now is to just lean into it. Just lean into 2025 and be as divisive, abrasive, acrimonious, arrogant, and unlikable as possible.
Well, Professor, my great friend, thanks for filling in and doing a great job. Three things. Number one, in spite of all this nonsense from the left, we are going to win. We're in the process of taking this country back. No one in the audience should be despairing. No one should be discouraged. We ought to be really encouraged.
Now I want you to note something here. He said we're taking our country back, despite the fact that a great number of the items listed in that 900-page manifesto is against the will of the people. Much of what the Supreme Court has done recently is against the will of the people. So when he says we're taking our country back, what he means is we're taking our country back.
No one in the audience should be despairing. No one should be discouraged. We ought to be really encouraged by what happened yesterday. And in spite of all of the injustice, which, of course, friends and audience of this show, of our friend Steve know, we are going to prevail. Number two, to the point of the clips and, of course, your preview of the fact that I am an early American historian and love the Constitution, that Supreme Court ruling yesterday on immunity is vital. And it's vital for a lot of reasons, but I would go to Federalist number 70 if people in the audience are looking for something to read over Independence Day weekend, in addition to rereading the Declaration of Independence. Read Hamilton's number 70, because there, along with some other essays, he talks about the importance of a vigorous executive. You know, former congressman, the importance of Congress doing its job, but we also know the importance of the executive being able to do his job. And can you imagine, Dave Bratt, any president, put politics off to the side, any president having to second guess, triple guess every decision they're making in their official capacity? You couldn't have the republic that you just described.
Wait, so what you're telling me is you don't want the president of the world's most powerful nation, full of hundreds of millions of people, thinking twice, or maybe even, dare I say, 3 times about the decisions that might affect hundreds of millions of people. You just want them playing it like they just jumped on a video game. That's how we got here? Is they just act however willing? So they haven't been ensuring that their decision making is sound up to this point, and you want to make sure that they never have to do so. I got it. So basically, we want the president to have the decision-making of the cast of Love and Hip Hop.
Let me speak about the radical left. You and I have both been parts of faculties and faculty senates and understand that the left has taken over our institutions. The reason that they are apoplectic right now, the reason that so many anchors on MSNBC, for example, are losing their minds daily, is because our side is winning. And so I come full circle in this response and just want to encourage you with some substance that we are in the process of the Second American Revolution, which will remain bloodless if the left allows it to be.
Quote, we are in the process of the Second American Revolution, which will remain bloodless if the left allows it to be. When somebody tells you who they are and what their intentions are, believe them. We have seen January 6th. We have seen how surrogate after surrogate of Trump has refused to acknowledge or respect the results of the election should they lose. I just did a whole video on Mark Robinson saying some people need killing. When people declare their intentions, believe them. Though when it comes to Trump, that's probably the only thing I believe.
The owner of Rocky's Barbershop in Atlanta says he feels he was misled by a campaign event for former President Trump.
I thought it was like something real private.
It was anything but. Rocky, along with black business owners from across metro Atlanta, crammed into his shop, along with Trump surrogates like Ben Carson.
When Byron Donalds and Ben Carson showed up, you didn't know what was up? You thought that Ben Carson came to get faded in the back? Hi, my name is Reese Waters, and I'm troubled. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the page. Okay, now first we got video of this Trump campaign event at an Atlanta barbershop.
But since this has happened, like the mugshot is the best. It just beat Elvis Presley and Frank Sinatra by a lot, by the way. Beat him by a lot. But that's the #1 mugshot of all time. It's really an amazing thing. Since it happened, the support among the black community and the Hispanic community has skyrocketed. It's been amazing, really been amazing. It's been actually very nice to see.
Mr. President,
you know, it's in one way you say, gee, isn't that too bad? But the truth is, it's really a lovely thing when I see that. We have great support now in the black community and in the Hispanic community.
And I was already going to talk about this because you had to know his advisor said going in, hey, whatever you do, Donnie, do not mention the mugshot. No. Just let's get one appearance in front of black people where you don't talk about them as criminals. Like just one. Just let us get footage of you one time talking to black people where you don't characterize them as criminals. Can we get one? Can we get one? We couldn't get one. We couldn't get one. So you know I was going to talk about that. Now, I had planned to getting around to addressing that sham, but before I even could, I saw this.
The owner of Rocky's Barbershop in Atlanta says he feels he was misled by a campaign event for former President Trump the day before the debate. Rocky Jones tells our Karis Belger he thought his Buckhead shop was just hosting a forum for black businesses, but he says he never expected to fade into the realm of politics.
To me, cutting hair is like an art.
And smooth waves are not the only thing Rocky Jones wants his shop to be known for.
We try to specialize in just giving good service to the community. As you can see, I've been here since 17 years, and it's been good.
Which is why he jumped at the chance to help other black business owners get ahead.
Started with a text, then it went to a call, because I was actually out the country, and just me agreeing to do a black small business round table. I thought it was like something real private.
It was anything but. Rocky, along with black business owners from across Metro Atlanta, crammed into his shop, along with Trump surrogates like Ben Carson.
Okay, I got to stop us right here. When Byron Donalds and Ben Carson showed up, you didn't know what was up? Huh? Because I'm just saying, when you thought that Ben Carson came to get faded in the back? Like, help me. How did you not know? I have not heard anything that didn't originate from Donald Trump's lower bowels out of Byron Donalds' mouth in 12 months. So what do you think he possibly came to say? How did you not know what was up?
But it wasn't all shop talk.
Thinking about black business in Atlanta, small black businesses in Atlanta. And I'm like, okay, so when are we going to start talking about this?
He says a call from former President Trump during the event cut deep.
Why is the ex-president calling somebody in my barbershop? This has nothing to do with small black businesses.
Now, I'll be honest. The owner, Rocky, does have a point here because I went back and watched when Trump called, and he did not look pleased.
Oh, actually, hold on. He worked in the administration. Hello. Hey, Mr. President Trump. Mr. President, how you doing? Well, I'm going to put you on speaker, but actually a great question just came up. We're talking about regulations and some of the things that can be done to alleviate the regulation burdens on a lot of businesses. But I'm going to put you on speakerphone for everybody to hear. Hold on a second. All right, everybody, you're on with the president.
Hello, Mr.
Hey,
President.
Mr. President.
Hello, everybody. It's great to be with you. I hope I'm being well represented. I have a feeling I am. I know them very well. So I hope so.
No, you are, sir.
He looked like when you was playing as a kid and your grandma called and you knew your mama was going to put you on the phone.
And he was left with a lot more than razor burn.
We had some calls. Thursday, we definitely got some calls, some backlash, some angry people that don't know me. And I have to deal with that. I have no involvement in politics. We don't even talk politics in my barbershop. It's all sports. Commend everybody to vote, but that's your business. You know, I don't tell you what to do.
The number of customers, he says, has trimmed down, but he hopes the shock will fade and he can keep helping his community.
No politics in the barbershop. That's right. It's sports only. Huh? I see the WNBA. Yeah. Oh no, we can't. No, we can't talk about WNBA because of the whole proxy war with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and all the black players and everything. So no WNBA talk. The Olympics, right? You saw the Olympic? No, no Olympic talk because the Olympics has for years been a place against which the backdrop of politics was projected. So no politics. No politics. The Celtics, no, I'm not a Celtics fan. I don't really rock with the Celtics because of their fans. You know what? That's politics. No NBA. No NBA. We're not talking about the Celtics fans and their history. No, we can't do that. Michigan and Ohio State. Now, there you go. No, actually, no, that is literally blue versus red. NFL, though. Oh, no, because there was the Harrison Butker thing with the Chiefs, and then they said that you know, Taylor Swift and Joe Biden and all. No, because we can't talk. No. Anybody watch golf? Bro, look at what you said during the round table.
Politics is not really a main topic, but it has its time where we do talk about it when it's on CNN and, you know, everybody's give their opinion about, you know, what's going on, and it's definitely a buzz. I mean, it's definitely a buzz. It's going up.
Now, this comes a question of who you believe. Now, I think it's highly suspect that he didn't know what was going on, but then on the other side of the aisle, you have a man who I just said I would trust the letters LIE on the sidewalk over anything Donald Trump had to say. You just had a man who the CNN fact check of his debate was over 3 minutes long.
My guess, he said, I mean it sincerely, a new record for the most lies told in a single debate.
Just listing off all the stuff that he lied about. So is that the guy who we believe? And this is also somebody that has a history of scams involving us. There was the black church filled with white people, which he left immediately in Detroit to go to White Boy Summer. There was the whole Chick-fil-A setup, which ended up being revealed as that lady had worked for Candace Owens.
4 p.m. We've been 4 p.m. Come here, let me give you a hug.
And then there was the whole Bronx rally, which was more white people than I've ever seen the Bronx in my entire life. And then if you're talking scams and Donald Trump, that is literally his entire business career. So, this is a tough one. Now, okay, here's a question. How did this even come together?
I feel like I've been betrayed.
Days before the debate, Jones says someone who he thought was a friend reached out to him about being the host site for a small black business roundtable. He says there was never any mention this was a political event. Jones adds he never heard from a Trump campaign representative either. I asked him if the timing of the event raised any flags this would be political.
I honestly didn't think about it. It was just, once you say black small business, give back to the community, it's like, okay, I'm doing it.
Jones says he feels used.
Just be aware that it is election season and the timing seems a little suspect.
That's why he's warning other business owners to have a healthy dose of skepticism.
Even though I trusted that person, I didn't really do the research I should have done, but now I'm letting everybody else know that you need to be aware of these calls.
So somebody that you thought was a friend, who shall remain nameless, reached out about a small business roundtable, and you never heard from the Trump campaign? I need to know who is this person with these deep connections into the GOP establishment. Is this what Hustle Man is doing now? Is this why we don't never see the DVD man no more? Now, the owner did reveal off camera that he was paid for closing his business and now says he wants to return the money. Now, the money isn't an issue. He did have to close his business, but if you got paid, that money had to come from somewhere. So you talk to somebody. Did they just hand you cash after the fact? Did they pay you in CVS extra bucks? Oh no, the contract came out. Here you have the signed contract. And if you look, it's dated the day of the event, which actually kind of supports Rocky that he didn't know what was going on. However, the timestamp is before the event started. This ain't looking good, Rocky. This is not looking good, because what it looks like is you tried to jump out the closet and see if it could jumpstart your visibility by connecting yourself to Maga and put some money in your pocket in the process. And it turns out Atlanta is still Atlanta. And now you trying to save face. That is what it looks like. Now, the best I can say for you is you did look mad the entire time. That is your best evidence. You do not look like somebody who knew what was going down was going to go down.
So let me say this real quick.
Yes, sir.
To the white supremacy deal. If that's what Donald Trump truly believed, then why would he undo the 94 crime bill? Because when you did that, what you predominantly did is you cut short sentencing of black men because
Well, first of all, I appreciated everybody's opinions here. This is great hearing this. I hope we can do this more often. You know, the founders of this country understood that we would come to a point where our democracy would be challenged. And they left the final solution in the hands of we the people. That's what the vote is all about.
My man looked like me trapped in Easter Sunday service as a kid. Like, we really gonna do this all day? That, I think, is a weird look for something you knew was going to go this way, but the contract is damning. Now, as for Trump, the contract was a good look, validating that this wasn't a scam, but either way, you don't have willing participation. Either one or two things. Either you had to trick them into doing this, or they were so ashamed they did it, they tried to take it back and claimed that they were tricked. Neither of those indicates grassroots black growth.
It's really an amazing thing. Since it happened, the support among the black community and the Hispanic community has skyrocketed. It's been amazing, really been amazing. It's been actually very nice to see.
And quite frankly, I don't even know which one is better. Like, would you rather have had to trick your prom date into going to the dance with you, or have her be so ashamed that she lies after the fact and tells people that you tricked her into going to the dance with you? I don't know, because I only got experience with one of those.
Evolution of the Southern heart that we see on display. And we Southerners get so little credit for the progress we've made. The whole notion of judging a person on the content of their character, not the color of their skin, has happened. It's not going to happen. It's not around the corner. It's in the rearview mirror.
That's not in the rearview mirror. That's actually the view through your glasses as you wait at the bus stop for the white delegation to pick you up off waivers. Hi, my name is Reese Waters, and I'm troubled. I never even got around to dragging Tim Scott for ignoring the whole black jobs thing.
The president used a phrase I hadn't heard before. Maybe he's used it, maybe you've heard this, but he used a phrase saying that immigrants are coming into this country, undocumented immigrants, and they're taking black jobs and Hispanic jobs. What did he mean by that phrase, black jobs and Hispanic? What exactly does he mean? And does he mean low-wage jobs? And why not just say low-wage jobs? Why does he have to insert race and or ethnicity into it?
I got to tell you, the thing I thought was incredibly powerful on the issue of immigration was when President Trump said that we see our veterans homeless on the streets.
And we know exactly what he meant. He meant low-wage jobs. But of course, if he says the thing that we know he means, then he wouldn't have the room to continue to tap dance and shuffle as if he hasn't been anti-black for the last 5 decades. Also, here's a convenient list in case you wanted some examples of black jobs. There are a lot of exceptions in here. Now, when that video came out, I had had enough. We had had the whole shuffle off between him and Byron Donalds. I said the black delegation has had enough. He has been on the trading block for years. It is far too long. Just go ahead and send him home. No, he has to be waived. He has to be waived by the black delegation if no other delegation is going to trade for him. Unfortunately, there's a 10-day waiting period for him to clear waivers. And in that time, he went and said this.
Chosen as the vice president, you would be the first black Republican VP on the ticket. How do you feel?
Well, I think it's exciting, no matter the outcome. It's the evolution of the Southern heart that we see on display. And we Southerners get so little credit for the progress we've made. The whole notion of judging a person on the content of their character, not the color of their skin, has happened. It's not going to happen. It's not around the corner. It's in the rearview mirror. We are living Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s dream.
Trump, just go ahead and pick your VP and put us out of our misery, man. I mean, really, this might be one of the worst things that you have put us through, is having to sit through Byron Donalds and Tim Scott continuing to try and out-tap dance one another. Like, pick your VP so I can go ahead and run these pieces, dragging both of them for shuffling for nothing.
It's the evolution of the Southern heart that we see on display. And we Southerners get so little credit for the progress we've made.
Credit to Southerners. Well, I do want to give credit to the state of Florida and Alabama and Mississippi and everybody else that has attacked critical race theory, or as I call it, history. Credit to them, and in your own state, in South Carolina, getting that gerrymandering decision from the Supreme Court, allowing them to pick and choose who they want in their jurisdiction, not based on race, but based on presumed political allegiance. And what would presumed political allegiance be based on, huh? Shoe size? Yeah, well, that's just the big picture, right? I wouldn't want to just cherry pick random stories and make it look like a racist epidemic. I mean, I'm not in the GOP.
The whole notion of judging a person on the content of their character, not the color of their skin, has happened. It's not going to happen. It's not around the corner. It's in the rearview mirror.
Now let's address what exactly is in the rearview mirror. There are the DEI programs that have been developed to try and create some equity in spaces that we've been excluded from. There was affirmative action, which sought to address that in corporations and colleges. Of course, there's the Voting Rights Act, ensuring that we had access to the ballot box. Of course, going back decades, as Brown versus Board of Education was struck down separate but equal. Oh, wait, no. Those aren't in the rearview mirror. Those are all things that your party, the GOP, has sought to destroy. Yeah, that's not in the rearview mirror. That's actually the view through your glasses as you wait at the bus stop for the white delegation to pick you up off waivers.
We are living Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s dream.
Oh, they just love to quote MLK, don't they? Oh, they love to quote MLK. Really, it's like the GOP get out of jail free card. And yes, we are living MLK's dream, because I remember that time he said, I have a dream that one day a presidential candidate would get up on a debate and advocate for protecting black jobs. Tim Scott, you are not his dream. You are actually his reality, because they were anti-black Negroes then too. Yeah, that's how they got Malcolm and how they got Martin too. Now, as crazy as all this was, it wasn't even the first time that he tried this. Y'all remember The View?
One of the things I think about, and one of the reasons why I'm on the show, is because of the comments that were made, frankly, on this show, that the only way for a young African-American kid to be successful in this country is to be the exception and not the rule. That is a dangerous, offensive, disgusting message to send to our young people today, that the only way to succeed is by being the exception. The fact of the matter is we've had an African-American president, African-American vice president. We've had 2 African-Americans to be secretaries of the state. In my home city, the police chief is an African-American who's now running for mayor. The head of the highway patrol for South Carolina is an African-American.
Still exceptions.
In 1975, there was about 15% employment in the African-American community. For the first time in the history of the country, it's under 5%.
40% homelessness.
And 50% of the folks in our community
get 13% of the population.
You had the chance to ask the question. I know that I've watched you on the show that you like people to be deferential and respectful, so I'm going to do the same thing.
That is true.
So here's what I'm going to suggest. I'm going to suggest the fact of the matter is that progress in America is palpable.
I'm going to need to stop us right there. Yeah, I'm going to need to stop us. See, those are benchmarks, but if they were normalized, like if we were just flooded with black people in Congress, then they wouldn't even be notable. You wouldn't be able to point to 1 or 2 if they were anything else. 1 African-American president out of 44, which immediately leads to a rise in open racism, which organized itself under the notion to make America great again, and then takes the White House as soon as he's done. But they will gladly take credit for his accomplishments, which were blunted by a Congress that refused to work with him. And how are you the first black senator from the South since Reconstruction, and you're not the exception?
Progress in America is palpable. It can be measured in generations. I look back at the fact that my grandfather, born in 1921 in Sally, South Carolina, when he was on a sidewalk, a white person was coming, he had to step off and not make eye contact. That man believed then, with some doubt now, in the goodness of America, because he believed that having faith in God, faith in himself, and faith in what the future could hold for his kids would unleash opportunities in ways that you cannot imagine. Yesterday's exception is today's rule. And for us to suggest—
America has met its promise.
No, of course, the concept of America is that we are going to become a more perfect union. That in fact, the challenges that we faced 50 years ago and 60 years ago should not be the same challenges that we face today.
I don't know what it is about black conservatives going on The View with this. I really don't, because actually Condoleezza Rice going on The View was actually the inspiration for my piece, the What's Wrong with Black Conservatives.
My parents never thought I was going to grow up in a world without prejudice, but they also told me that's somebody else's problem, not yours.
Now, this makes a whole lot of sense, because as a parent, I understand communicating to a child to lift any ceiling that she may perceive that she can do anything and it's somebody else's problem. But the reality is that it's all of our problem. Like, imagine if every black parent told their child that's somebody else's problem. Like, on an individual basis, you would feel empowered, but what you're also doing is abandoning the struggle for true equality and leaving it to the rest of us. That's a very I'm not black, I'm OJ way to view life. Look at our freedom fighters that we've had throughout history. Just pick anyone that comes to mind. Shirley Chisholm, Frederick Douglass, Sojourner Truth, Medgar Evers, Fred Hampton, obviously MLK. Just think about their parents telling them that, yes, society has not been fair to our kind, but that is somebody else's problem. And I will ask the same question that I asked in that piece. How do you think we got to this place? Like, how do you think we got to this place where your grandfather can feel some gratitude for you not having to live his reality? You think he just waited for things to get better over time because there's something in the water that somehow diminished white people's racism? Is that what you think happened?
As a nation, we seemingly get on the right track and then we go backwards. So you as a black man and as one of the, are there 2 black?
Yeah.
Senators?
Yeah.
Raphael Warnock.
Raphael, that's
3 now.
The 3, yes.
But you yourself have talked about when the police stopped you.
Absolutely.
So how can you get your party to stop trying to stop the progression that people are making?
Yeah, so
because that's what I complained about when I spoke about. I want you to come out and say, listen, the Republicans have these issues. So
yeah, I think humans have these issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, the issue of discrimination that I have faced, I assume you face as well, is an issue of the heart. It's not Republicans or Democrats. Frankly, both sides of the aisle can do a better job on the issue of race. And frankly, my side of the aisle, I think, is doing a fabulous job of making progress. The question is, how do we measure that progress?
How is that?
Well, let me just give you a couple examples. So when you think about, this is good news, yeah. So.
Now, I will give him credit here. I gotta give credit where credit is due. The GOP is definitely making progress because they gave us the mugshot, right? They gave us the mugshot, which of course we love. They gave us some shiny shoes, those shiny gold bricks, those wearable gold bricks, which of course I can't control myself, when shoes are available. They keep trotting out the same black unemployment and HBCU numbers. As if we can't read, because it really only takes one time to look that up to find out Biden's were better. I do appreciate that. Of course, they advocated for protecting black jobs, and they picked a guy with a race record which goes back to the 70s. Just pick a decade. Just pick a decade and look into that and the litany of problems which he has presented. So we do appreciate that. And let me not forget that you have provided a comfortable home for folks who seek specifically to destroy critical race theory and DEI. So yes, phenomenal.
So the truth of the matter is that when you look at progress in the Senate, especially from the Republican side, African-American chiefs of staff on the Republican side, the only African-American female chief of staff was mine. The current only Hispanic chief of staff, who happens to be female, is mine. When you look at the fact that when I helped to rewrite the tax code in 2017, I focused on my growing up experience, which was a single mother. I cut her taxes. Single mothers like mine, average income around $40,000 by 73%.
But you only one black senator out of 50.
So the truth is that when you measure success and progress in this nation, one of the things you have to do is look at the statistical realities. We brought African-American unemployment, when we cut the taxes, down to the lowest level in the history of this country. For the first time, under 6%, it hit 5.4%.
Well, you also gave billionaires a huge tax cut, and that didn't trickle down to the working people.
Well, let's take a look at that.
If you want to talk about statistical realities, the statistical reality that we can't even argue with is that African Americans are what, 14, 15% of this country?
13%.
And they're 3% of the U.S. Senate. That is a statistical reality.
That is only one statistic.
Here are a few more statistical realities. How about higher rates of arrest and incarceration despite similar offending rates when you account for other factors? How about higher sentencing compared to white counterparts for similar offenses? Or disproportionate use of force by law enforcement leading to higher rates of injury and death. And then we have the disparities in access to quality education resulting in lower graduation rates and academic achievement gaps. You have higher rates of disciplinary action and suspension compared to white students. And then, of course, there's the higher unemployment rates. Yes, even when they're low, they're always higher, and lower median household income compared to white Americans. There's discrimination in hiring practices and promotions leading to occupational segregation and limited career advancement opportunities. But of course, let's go ahead and attack DEI. There are disparities in access to healthcare services and health outcomes, including higher rates of chronic diseases such as diabetes, hypertension, and asthma, as well as limited access to mental health services and higher rates of psychological distress. And that's not to mention the infant and maternal mortality rates in the black community, higher rates of housing instability, including homelessness and eviction, discrimination in housing markets, including redlining practices that restricted access to mortgage loans and desirable neighborhoods. There's a huge wealth gap still between black households and white households, stemming from historic discrimination and systemic barriers to wealth accumulation. And of course, you have the limited access to capital for entrepreneurship and business development. Even the environment, disproportionate exposure to environmental hazards and pollution in black communities with limited access to clean water, air, and safe recreational spaces. Yeah, why don't you ask the folks in Flint all about that? No? No? Too far to go to Flint? How about you go down to Jackson, Mississippi? How about challenges in voter suppression efforts targeting black communities, including restrictive voting laws, and something you should know all about in South Carolina, Tim Scott? gerrymandering, and of course the underrepresentation in elected offices and decision making. Yes, those are indeed some statistical realities, or as you would call it, Tim Scott, exceptions.
Mr. Trump said yesterday that your name is very high on his list of people he's considering as a running mate. Would you be ready on day one to serve as commander-in-chief if necessary?
Well, I think if you're going to step into that job, it's obviously the toughest job, the biggest job, not just in our politics, but really, frankly, in the world. Look, I think that I would have an ability to step in. I'm actually pretty intelligent.
Tim Scott, he just talked about your mama. Welcome to Street Politics. My name is Reese Waters. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the page. Now, you guys all saw that Blacks for Trump event out in Detroit. Huh? What's that? What? Tim Scott walked up on Byron Donalds? Oh, because he mad he didn't get invited to the Blacks for Trump. Oh, snap. Wait a minute. They having a shuffle off right now? Tim Scott versus Byron Donalds? Oh, I'm going.
One at a time, murders in Milwaukee are down 39% since last year. And the Trump campaign's own election investigator in 2020 said that Wisconsin's results were legit. So if Mr. Trump feels so strongly that Milwaukee is a horrible city, why is he having his convention there?
Well, two things. First of all, when you bring these comments up, please bring them in context. I'm glad that you mentioned what the campaign said afterwards, but I noticed that your network and a lot of the press are not doing that. With respect to Milwaukee, he was talking about allegations of voter fraud and also the crime rate. And I think it's important for people to understand your murder rate may be down, but that doesn't mean that violent crime, etc., are also lower. Those are two different pieces of crime. Obviously, murder is the most heinous of them all.
Byron Donalds. Which one is it? Which one is it? You tried to just outright lie and say it had to do with election fraud, but you just had to throw in the crime, didn't you? You just had to throw in the crime. So when people say that another city is a horrible city, why do they say such a thing? Typically got to do with crime, right? Oh no, he's not saying it was horrible. It's just the election stuff. And also the crime. Really? Really? Oh, so Byron Donalds, if you weren't talking about the murder rate, then what kind of crimes were you talking to? We know that Milwaukee's fine when it comes to the violent crime, but we're more interested in all that white collar crime that y'all got going on in Milwaukee. You know, all the tax fraud and whatnot that we like to crack down on now, all of a sudden, because they cracked down on me.
Respected law enforcement. Under Joe Biden, we've seen the movement to defund the police, leaving communities like the one I grew up in devastated and ravaged by a wave of violent crime that we have not seen literally in 5 decades.
Actually, Senator, as you probably know, the latest stats on violent crime and on the murder rate, they're actually down this past year. But let me get back to my question about the Supreme Court's decision.
Well, let's take a look at those. Let's take a look at those crime rates. We've seen over 4,000 shootings just in the city of Chicago. We've seen a spike in violent crime. It's nice to see something plateau, but the fact of the matter is simple. Under Joe Biden, neighborhoods like the ones I grew up in have never been ravaged. Grandmothers,
but back
like
to
the one that raised me, are trapped in their houses from the time the sun goes down until it comes up again.
Oh, it is a tried and true Magaism. Are you going to believe me or your lying eyes? In this case, the lying statistics. He literally gave you the statistics, and Tim Scott's just going to double down. Well, you look at Chicago. Chicago come out of your mouth more than drill rappers. By the way, murder rates in 2024 are actually on track to be at or below what they were every single year of Donald Trump's presidency. This is based on observed decline so far this year. And more than 75% of Americans still believe that crime is increasing. You know why? Because Tim Scott and them keep going on TV and saying it's so. We live in a post-factual world. We actually live in a post-factual society. And by the way, recently the FBI released statistics that after a dramatic decline in 2023, crime was down again in the first quarter of 2024. Murder and rape down over 25%, robbery down over 17%, and property crime down 15%. So those are the facts, despite what your shuffling tells you. And naturally, given that crime is down, that means that the Supreme Court should, what, go ahead and increase the violent capacity of weapons. Tim Scott?
So to my question, though, on bump stocks, would you now favor a Congress acting to ban bump stocks? You had said after that shooting in Las Vegas that if the vote came up, it would sail through Congress. So are you in favor of that ban right now?
Well, I'm strongly in support of the Second Amendment, but what we're going to do in the party, and
I asked about the ban on bump stocks, not the Second Amendment.
We're going to focus on the priorities of the American people. And what the priorities of the American people are today is to focus on closing our southern border. Under Donald Trump, we had a precipitous drop in illegal border crossings. Under Donald Trump, under Joe Biden, we've seen an explosion. 10 million illegal immigrants have invaded our country, leading to migrant crime that we just saw just yesterday.
Okay.
A mother of 5 killed by an illegal immigrant. So what the focus will be is on the safety of the American people. That starts with focusing on our southern border.
Tim Scott, I'm going to have to take away points. That was absolutely, totally inelegant. That was totally inelegant. You didn't do no spin. You didn't do no killer crossover. You didn't hit him with a Tim Hardaway or an Allen Iverson. You just ran straight into the block and tried to bowl the interview over. You actually did bowl the interview over, and it's that kind of behavior that's going to get you blocked. It's that kind of behavior that's going to get you in the ban list. They have no reason to bring you on in if you're not going to answer none of the questions, Tim. You have been a politician far too long than to be that inelegant. I mean, I'm sure Byron Donalds could top that.
Ask you about specifically what we've been hearing from Republicans and from Donald Trump, claiming the Democrats are illegally weaponizing the Justice Department against Mr. Trump. Why is it appropriate for Donald Trump then to call for prosecuting his political opponents, including President Biden?
Well, let me also explain this one. Now, what he did say is that we have always had this kind of a gentleman's agreement that you do not go after the political leaders of the opposition party. When Donald Trump was president, he didn't have his attorney generals go after Hillary Clinton when she did violate the Espionage Act. He did not give that order. They did not go and prosecute Hillary Clinton. But now you have a situation where Main Justice has weaponized the Justice Department to go after Donald Trump. You have Jack Smith, who's chasing down Donald Trump on violating the Espionage Act, but at the same time, Robert Hur knows that President Biden has violated the Espionage Act. Robert Hur is not prosecuting Joe Biden. Jack Smith is trying to prosecute Donald Trump.
Let me interrupt briefly, though. The Biden Justice Department obviously is also prosecuting Democrats. Robert Menendez of New Jersey, Henry Cuellar of Texas right now. They just prosecuted Hunter Biden as well. So is it only weaponization when it is Republicans that are being prosecuted?
That's not true, and that's not even the same thing we're talking about here. What you got to understand is
they prosecuted both Democrats and Republicans. So I think Americans would say, isn't that equal justice? Bob Menendez has gold bars with his name engraved on them from a foreign country. So that's what Bob Menendez's situation is. Henry Cuellar's situation just got into investigation. But it is without a doubt that these legal cases were all brought in the middle of a presidential election for one purpose, and that is to criminalize Donald Trump, that is to polarize Donald Trump, that is to persecute Donald Trump. That's the only reason why you even bring these cases in the time frame that they're being brought. And again,
that's how it's done, Tim Scott. That's how it's done, Tim Scott. That is the kind of flimsy trash argument that I would expect from somebody trying to be Donald Trump's VP. That was downright Trumpian, just filled with contradiction and bullcrap. Like, that is what I'm talking about. The fact that he dismissed the Menendez prosecution because of how obvious all of the evidence is, when all of Trump's evidence has been for all the world to see. Like, it's literally littered the timeline with all of Trump's evidence, but it's not the same thing because Menendez had gold bars with his name engraved on them. That is what I'm talking about, Tim Scott. I'm gonna need you to step your game up because that was a very strong tap dance by Byron Donalds. And in fact, he's gonna start us off the next round.
About some policy issues as they relate to Mr. Trump. This week, Mr. Trump floated the idea of getting rid of the federal income tax and replacing it with an all-tariff policy. Many economists say that that would help the rich and that it would hurt middle and lower income Americans. In 2021, Congressman, you praised America as a beacon for free and fair trade throughout the entire world. So wouldn't the president's idea hurt tens of millions of Americans?
Well, let me be direct about trade policy. For a lot of our country's history, trade policy has not been written to the best interests of the American people. A lot of these trade policies have favored foreign countries. I believe in free trade, but it has to be fair trade. The deals have to be equitable. The deals that were written in the past, previous administrations, were not equitable to the American people, to the American companies.
So Donald
that's
Trump's
the type of thing that has to be shifted.
an all-tariff policy.
Now, hold on a second. Let me finish.
Yeah.
Let me finish. I'm going to come to the policy. Now, what I will say is that President Trump is thinking through all types of various policies to jumpstart our economy, to make sure that we have a flourishing and thriving America. It's an idea. It's not concrete yet. A lot of things have to be flushed out. I was in the room when this was brought up. I talked with several of my colleagues who understand tariff policy, trade policy, and tax policy in a lot more detail than I do. They said there's some merit to it, but there's some other things that have to be worked out. You also have to figure out how to deal with the taxation piece for people on the low end of the socioeconomic spectrum.
So to be clear, these are just ideas you're suggesting.
This isn't to protect all Americans.
This isn't a real proposal that he's looking to implement right now. We should note that under Donald Trump in his 4 years in office,
there are many ideas that the president is thinking through, all designed to make sure that America thrives and that the American people thrive.
The debt rose by $8.4 trillion when Donald Trump was in office. And also the Fed chair, who Donald Trump himself selected, has said this week that the economy is growing at a solid pace and we have a strong labor market. I want to ask you, if I can, about that a little bit. Wouldn't this policy, though, hurt the very Americans, black Americans, that you were speaking to last night?
I'm very disappointed, Byron Donalds. I am extremely disappointed, Byron Donalds, because it is clear from your response that you are aware of how problematic Donald Trump's tariff flirtation will be for him in this election. It is pretty clear that the association of giving huge businesses and billionaires tax breaks and making the middle class pay for said tax breaks is problematic. And you are owning how problematic it is by virtue of the fact that you are ceding that this is something that hasn't been decided yet. What I would have expected from you is exactly what you just did in the previous question, or what Tim Scott did when he was talking about crime statistics. It is your job to tell us it is raining when it is sunny outside. That is why they bring you out here. It is your job to tell us why this thing that will be terrible for millions of Americans will in fact be in their best interest. They'll eat it up. Tim, I know you can beat that.
So let me ask you about one of the specific policy ideas he floated while he was in Washington. He floated the idea of raising tariffs high enough to be able to eliminate all of the income that comes in from income taxes. Is that, I mean, by some calculations, that's a 70% across-the-board tax on everything imported in the country. Some other estimates, it's nearly 100%. Would you favor a policy like that, replacing the income tax with a massive new tariffs on everything coming into the country?
Well, John, I wasn't in that House meeting. I was in the Senate meeting. But what I can tell you spoke about during the time of the Senate is actually exempting taxation on tips. The working class coalition that is now supporting Donald Trump is supporting Donald Trump because they know, looking back over his 4 years, they were better off under Donald Trump.
Now that's a pro. Now that's a pro right there. Ain't nobody asking about tips. He gonna bring up tips. He gonna bring up some aspect of it where he could try and sell it. That is a pro. We got a game now. We got to they squabbling out here now.
Okay, Senator, the day before that violent mob attacked the Capitol, you put out a statement explaining your decision to certify Joe Biden's election victory. Do you stand by that? You were not one of those that challenged the results. You voted to certify Biden's election victory. Do you stand by that?
Certainly, I will stand by that decision and the next decision to certify the fact that Donald Trump will be the next president of the United States. November 5th, the day of reckoning, is coming. The early ballots go out in places like North Carolina starting in September. We're going to focus on making sure that we use every tool in the toolkit to make sure that this election results are clear and profound, and that the American people get 4 more years of low unemployment, low inflation, high enthusiasm, and a president respected and sometimes feared on the global stage. That president will be Donald Trump.
All right, and then very quickly, we're just about out of time, but you had said that Mike Pence absolutely did the right thing when he defied Donald Trump's demand to not certify that election. Do you still stand by that Pence absolutely did the right thing on January 6th?
The Constitution is clear. What we're trying to focus on is how do we make sure we get 4 more years where the American people, particularly kids like me, growing up in poverty, have the best future we could possibly have.
Senator Scott, thank you.
Version of the American dream. That takes Donald Trump.
Senator Scott, thank you very much for being with us here this Sunday. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John.
He landed the vault. Oh, he landed the vault. He did the full shuffle, the full sachet. He did the Ray Lewis. Oh, he pulled every move out of the toolkit. That was solid. That was a solid shuffle job. That was a solid shuffle job. Yeah. I would give him an 8.3. I would give him an 8.3. Yeah. All right, Byron Donalds, what you got for us?
How can a black person get ahead when you have less disposable income today than you had in 2017, in 2018, in 2019? This is what a lot of the black business owners that we talked to yesterday in Detroit were explaining to the president.
Let me try to get to a couple other topics. The lowest unemployment rate for black Americans under Donald Trump was 5.3%. The lowest under Joe Biden was 4.7%. Mr. Trump said yesterday that your name is very high on his list of people he's considering as a running mate. Would you be ready on day one to serve as commander-in-chief if necessary?
Well, I think if you're going to step into that job, it's obviously the toughest job, the biggest job, not just in our politics, but really, frankly, in the world. Look, I think that I would have an ability to step in. I'm actually pretty intelligent. I can sift through issues really, really well. It's about judgment. It's about logic streams. It's about how you make decisions at the end of the day. And then you cannot discount the fact that you would have a lot of people who are very qualified to be around to help you do that job and do what's in the best interest of the American people. Do I believe in myself? 100% I do. And so, we'll see what President Trump decides. I'm going to support whatever he does.
Congressman Byron Donalds, we appreciate you making time to speak to us today. Thank you very much.
Tim Scott, he just talked about your mama. He just talked about your mama, Tim Scott. He just got up there and said, I think I am very intelligent. Who you think he was talking about? Huh? Who you think he was talking about? Because he might as well say, as a matter of fact, didn't he say I speak clearly? I put words together very well. Didn't he say that in a previous interview?
I am, obviously one of the better communicators in the Republican Party. I know how to put words together. I do it very, very often.
Oh, he talking about your mama, Tim Scott. Oh man, I gotta give it to Byron Donalds. That was a knockout in the 12th round right there. That was a knockout. That was a knockout in the 12th round right there. They out here dance battling for biscuits, more tea, sir, and at the end, just bow, roundhouse. Wow, that was wait. We got one more. Is one more entrant?
Senator Tim Scott, who on August the 3rd will become a father himself. I will tell you in advance, it is the best yet most expensive form of entertainment you can possibly have. So happy early Father's Day to you. Happy Father's Day to your dad.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for joining us on a Sunday night.
Who let this happen? Who let this happen? I need to know who let this happen. They have taken this entirely too far. All of a sudden, Mindy come out of nowhere. Now my man is going to procreate? I don't want to live in this America. Let me off. Let me off.
If you took that stage, you would get booed off of it. You would get booed off the stage.
Shut up, Gates. Hey, don't be an asshole.
Dude, I don't even know who you are, man.
It doesn't fucking matter. Don't be an asshole.
One person who raised the issue, he's got an ethics complaint about sleeping with a 17-year-old.
This is what happens when you don't have fathers in the home. Also, I blame country music. Welcome to Street Politics. My name is Reese Waters. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the page. Now, in doing my duty for you guys here on this channel, I decided that I would watch and recap all the events at the RNC convention, despite all prior experience telling me that Maga cannot be trusted to act right in public.
30% they went up. The biggest increase in history. It was then. Not really.
What's wrong with you? What's wrong with y'all? You niggas are crazy. See, this is why I don't go to the movies in certain neighborhoods. You know what I mean? This one, because they don't respect the show. They don't respect other people. I just stay out of their neighborhoods. You know what I mean? Just for my own safety and peace of mind. I mean, they don't even respect the theater. They don't even respect plays. I guess that's just how they was raised. You know, you would think, though, at least they would respect their own event. I mean, especially given how religious they claim to be. See, we starting with a prayer. That should calm them down.
Dear Waheguru, our one true God, we thank you for creating America as a unique haven on this earth where all people are free to worship according to their faith.
I'm sure they'll respect that. See, that's wrong. That's wrong. See, that's racism that should only be reserved for the VP's wife.
J.D. Vance also has a non-white wife, an Indian wife, and a kid named Vivek. All his kids have Indian names. So it's like, what exactly are we getting here? And that's not a dig at him just because I'm a racist or something. But it's like, who is this guy really? Do we really expect that the guy who has an Indian wife and named their kid Vivek is going to support white identity?
Wait a minute. Are they fighting?
Speaking. What night are you speaking? Are you speaking tonight? Or one person? No. Hey, you're not. If you took that stage, you would get booed off of it. You would get booed off the stage.
Hey, let them fight. Let them fight.
You would get booed off the stage.
Shut up, Gates. Hey, don't be an asshole.
Dude, I don't even know who you are, man.
It doesn't fucking matter. Don't be an asshole.
Yeah, I'm just standing here.
Oh, you know exactly who he is, Matt Gaetz. That's somebody who made you walk away because you didn't want that smoke.
You're not. If you took that stage, you would get booed off of it.
All these people around and nobody broke it up, but everybody took out their phones. We got lots of different angles of it. Y'all might as well have yelled World Star.
One who's not coming back, and then the other part that you have, and the other part you have is one person who raised the issue.
This is what happens when you don't have fathers in the home. Yeah, this is what happens when you don't have fathers in the home to lead them the right way. Also, I blame country music. I blame country. Yeah, it's that gangster country. They've been listening to that Jason Aldean all day, and now you out here embarrassing yourself in front of the world. I mean, who is he even trying to fight?
One who's not coming back, and then the other part that you have, and the other part you have is one person who raised the issue. He's got an ethics complaint about sleeping with a 17-year-old. So that's the way they would go. So that's the biggest challenge we have.
Oh, they rekindling the Kevin McCarthy, Matt Gaetz feud. See, here I am thinking that they were just going to squash it, at least for the RNC convention. I didn't know you had to have factions. You had to have them in separate parts of the FISERV forum, like this is the Bloods and the Crips. I didn't know that Gaetz was going to be so triggered. I mean, he didn't have all that smoke for Gonzalez.
He will survive. Look, the House is a rough and rowdy place, but Mike Johnson is going to be just fine. I served 20 years in the military. It's my absolute honor to be in Congress, but I served with some real scumbags. Look, Matt Gaetz, he paid minors to have sex with him at drug parties.
But now you want to come out here and attack an unemployed man from behind. Kids today, kids today, they don't settle things like we used to once upon a time. They got no respect. And not to mention the fact that they don't respect their elders either. I mean, at least Kevin McCarthy, did you fight back at least? Fight back, Kevin McCarthy.
He's got an ethics complaint about sleeping with a 17-year-old. So that's the way they would go.
Oh, that was good. That was good. He gonna get him in the back. He gonna be waiting backstage like the Source Awards. Oh. Now look, y'all done upset Rudy Giuliani. Rudy, let me smell your breath. Oh, it's the shoes. It's the shoes' fault. Hey, well, if it's the shoes, then that's your fault too. You still got on them shoes you took off a drifter back in '88. I told you about that. This is just the karma from stop and frisk. That's all that is, because you've been stopping people and frisking them for decades. Now all you got is them clown shoes that you've been walking around with. And by the way, ain't you supposed to be in jail? Huh? Oh, he on work release? Oh, okay. All right, well, I tell you, he need to work and release some of those funds back to Shay Moss and Ruby Freeman. You remember the two Georgia election workers he slandered. Hey, Trump!
Ever since he got here, he hasn't done anything for the people who he wrote this moving book about.
Trump! Orange turkey. You got to get out here and say something. Yeah, you got to get out here and say, because no, they disrespecting the prayer. They out here fighting. You got Rudy falling over because ain't nobody cut him off. You got accusations of crimes and not checking ID. I ain't seen nothing this ghetto since the Boebert family scrapbook. Huh? What's that? Oh yeah, it's because of the shooting. Yeah, it's the shooting because it was gunplay at the rally. And while we're on the topic,
where I am at this point is it's been 3 days going on 4 since this horrific event occurred. A person lost their life, 2 have been severely injured, and yet we've not received a medical report from the hospital, nor have we received a medical report from the campaign or from the Trump organization about the extent of the damage to his ear. If he was shot by a high caliber bullet, there should probably be very little ear there. And so we'd like to know that. Is there cosmetic surgery involved? What is the prognosis for recovery? Were there stitches? What is the extent and nature of the damage to his ear? Was it caused by a bullet as opposed to, as some reports from those on the scene, other reporters, saying that it was actually shards of glass from the teleprompter itself, not the bullet. So there are a lot of questions around that ear, and yet there's been no response to that. Instead, just showing the image of the man coming into the hall with the wounded ear.
Let me jump in on that.
So that's the politics.
Nah, he's actually a Republican. Yeah, I know. He sounded way too dignified for the RNC. Yeah, they probably won't let him back in. Yeah, they too hood. You probably catch some of that ghetto by osmosis.
for the next Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance.
No. No. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. No. 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 Hell no.
Welcome to Street Politics. My name is Reese Waters. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the page. Now, the good news is, after the debacle from earlier this week,
if you took that stage, you would get booed off of it. You would get booed off the stage.
Shut up, Gates. Hey, don't be an asshole.
Dude, I don't even know who you are, man.
It doesn't fucking matter. Don't be an asshole.
One person who raised the issue, he's got an ethics complaint about sleeping with a 17-year-old.
the reps were on their best behavior. I mean, other than Matt Gaetz, who broke into J.D. Vance's makeup kit. You know, I actually get why J.D. Vance does makeup, though, because it gives you something to entertain yourself while he's talking.
We need a leader who's not in the pocket of big business, but answers to the working man, union and non-union alike. A leader who won't sell out to multinational corporations.
Now, aside from the fact that Trump has called for cutting corporate taxes by $800 billion this week, boring. Ohio, this is what y'all gave us? Ohio, I gotta holler at y'all. Ohio, like really, like how did you even sit there long enough to pay attention to him to decide that he's somebody you wanted to vote for? I ain't been this mad at Ohio since the Cavs stole the 2016 NBA championship. Y'all know Draymond Green shouldn't have been suspended. I ain't been this mad at Ohio since the Buckeyes stole the 2002 national championship. That's two that they stole. It might be something in Ohio. You know what? I ain't been this mad at Ohio since somebody stole the chart out the barbershop in Steve Harvey's neighborhood and he had to go with a man unit. But here's where we get to the bad news. While the reps were on their best behavior, this time it was the crowd acting up.
And put them behind bars. Or send them back.
I thought Greg Abbott was going to start floating. This ain't going to look good.
Because I've been so struck, not just by what we've heard, Kristen, but what we have not heard this whole week. All the rally favorites, the greatest hits about the 2020 election being stolen. No one's mentioning it. Political grievances, weaponizing government. Nobody's mentioning it. Nobody's calling the January 6th rioters patriots or hostages. All of that seems to have been excised from what the Republican Party is trying to portray here on this stage. It is notable.
It's very notable, and we are told that the Republican National Committee did urge some of these speakers to tone down their language in these speeches, and so clearly we're hearing a reflection of that in these speeches. It represents a shift.
Oh, word, they tamped it down while holding mass deportation signs. That was them tamping it down. Exactly what would have not been them tamping it down? Just walking around with a lasso, dragging people off of the street? NBC News, tell me exactly what not tamping it down looks like if this is tamping it down. You know, I should have known. I should have known when I saw Kristen Welker.
Well, the president was clearly comfortable discussing foreign policy issues from Ukraine to China, but he did mix up Vice President Harris and former President Trump's names mere minutes into the event, just hours after mistakenly calling Ukrainian President Zelensky President Putin. Welcome back. One group that's happy with how President Biden's news conference went last night, Republicans, especially those around former President Trump.
I got less sympathy for Kristen Welker than the people who lost money on crypto with Amber Rose. See, that is allegedly why she is MAGA now, because apparently she's trying to get in front of any potential charges that she might be facing by cozying up to the man who might be president. I will say this, far be it from me to ever, and I mean ever, defend Amber Rose, but if you lose money investing with Amber Rose, you deserve to be broke. I'm sorry, you deserve to be broke. That money was not long for your pockets. I am sorry. If you invest your money with Amber Rose, you make worse financial decisions than the people on her OnlyFans. See? I told you. But still, I gotta ask, what made this crowd so mad?
Sometimes it just writes itself. It's probably a ladybug in the system.
That makes sense. That actually makes a lot of sense. And I want to take this moment to send my heart out to all the poor, innocent men of Milwaukee who had nothing to do with the RNC, who had their social lives completely interrupted by this convention. Oh, come on. Wait a minute. Is that a congressman? But it was an especially bad look in front of J.D. Vance's wife. I mean, at least you can pretend in person and then go be racist online. That's typically the American way. You smile in their face and then you go post insanely racist stuff on the internet when you get home. That is typically how the priority is supposed to work. Huh? Oh yeah, I love Kasim Rashid. Let's see what Kasim had to say here. Vance's wife, Usha Vance, comes into the spotlight as a potential future second lady. Usha is a Yale Law graduate. She clerked for Justice Roberts, then Justice Kavanaugh, and is now an accomplished corporate lawyer. She even, as the New York Times put it, helped Mr. Vance organize his ideas about social decline in rural white America. By all accounts, she's been vital to advancing not only J.D. Vance's racism and claims of white grievance, but intimately supported a rogue MAGA Supreme Court rife with corruption to advance Project 2025. Usha should be a MAGA hero for advancing the MAGA agenda of racism and white supremacy. Who does she think she is? Byron Donalds?
My background is very different from JD's. I grew up in San Diego, in a middle-class community. With two loving parents, both immigrants from India.
And apparently they're gonna be the last ones if you have your way. So apparently they came in order to allow for you to close the door. Is that what it is? Close the door. I'll give you that white America you've been waiting for.
My background is very different from JD's. I grew up in San Diego, in a middle-class community. With two loving parents, both immigrants from India, and a wonderful sister.
They didn't clap or nothing. That is just rude. For comparison's sake, they even clapped for Don Jr.
The country we love. And by the way, J.D. Vance is going to make one hell of a vice president.
The biggest victim, though, was Don Sr., who was clearly fighting for his life. All throughout that speech. I have been there before. I remember Easter Sunday, 87 through 96. Those were all rough. But nothing, and I mean nothing, tops this. No, ain't no way. That was Photoshop. That was Photoshop. I refuse to believe that. That has to be Photoshop. You know what? I need video. Video or it didn't happen.
for the next Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance. Our ally.
Help me out, Maga. Is this a serious event or not? Is this because I've been sitting on the jokes. I'll be honest, I have been responsible. I've been sitting on the jokes. I didn't post this. I didn't post this. But yet, here y'all go. Is that an index card? So you want me to believe that this was an attack on democracy and that Trump is an American hero?
They say you can't truly know how you'll respond in a moment of danger until you're actually confronted with it. So what was my father's instinct as his life was on the line? Not to cower, not to surrender, but to show for all the world to see that the next American president has the heart of a lion. My father raised his fist into the air. He looked out at the crowd, and what did he say?
But this is how y'all act, huh? Is this how y'all act when soldiers come back from war? You know, real American heroes, y'all just limp around. Is that how you do it? When you show up to the tarmac, when they get off the plane, you act like you're wounded, where they're wounded, just walking around the airport with eye patches? Exactly how does this work? I'm trying to understand how you want us to have the proper level of respect for this attack on an American hero, but you out here with ace bandages around your face. How far does this go, Maga? I need to know how far this goes. I'm surprised nobody showed up to the convention with a robe, considering what we learned during his hush money trial. If y'all gonna treat it like a joke, then don't get mad when other people do.
Rod should hold a press conference today and call for Trump's impeachment. That's what I would do. That's what I would do. I'm going to do it. I'm supporting impeachment. I'm supporting impeachment. He must be removed. His son Jared must be prosecuted.
Ooh, he's in bad shape. Hey, somebody get him some water, please. Welcome to Street Politics. My name is Reese Waters. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the page. Now, Roger Stone, the longtime Republican operative who served as an advisor to Donald Trump when he wasn't on Cell Block D, was secretly recorded at Mar-a-Lago revealing the former president's strategy to challenge the results of the 2024 election should he lose again. And if anything should inspire confidence, it is how thorough their plans are for challenging the results should they lose for a contest that's 6 months away. He actually spilled his guts to reporters Lauren Windsor and Ali Samarco, who posed as Trump fans and covertly videotaped him at a Catholics Prayer for Trump event on March 19th.
I know you tell that. Unlike some other people. I'm going to send this to Joe Biden. I thought he could be our close picture.
That's it.
Do you mind taking a photo with me, Mr. Stone?
Sure.
You're in a position to know more than anybody else. How are you feeling about the election?
Too early to say.
Biden can't win again.
No, but it can be stolen again.
We're in a whole. Wait, there's got to be something we can do to prevent that.
We're working on this, but I'm not saying that I'm totally confident yet because I'm not. By the way, in 2020, only 65% of evangelical Christians bothered to vote. So when you tell people, "Oh, we're doing great," then it's how I don't have to worry about voting. That's our biggest overconfidence is one of our giant problems right now among our own people.
But so, what are we going to do to stop it, though? Thank you.
I'll tell you the same thing I told her. We're working on it. We're working on it.
Well,
lawyers, judges, technology.
Lawyers, judges, and technology. None of that involves actually winning over voters. No, none of that is doing things to convince people to vote for you. So your plan is lawyers, judges, and technology. Nothing says our platform is trash like our plans to win involve challenging the results. It also sounds remarkably like the plan from last time that did not work, seeing as how Trump is not currently in the White House. So your plan was the plan that didn't work last time. That would be like the NBA deciding, okay, we know that worst finals ever was trending immediately after the NBA finals. So our plan for next year is just to have the Eastern Conference be trash and just have one team run through the Eastern Conference, make it totally unwatchable, and have the Western Conference be lit, but like a total bloodbath. So whatever team comes through just gets picked off by the team from the Eastern Conference. Oh, they actually are going to do that? They're going to do that same thing? Okay. It would be like the Dallas Cowboys saying next year we just going to run it back with Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott. Oh, they're doing that too?
Lawyers, judges, technology.
By the way, your lawyers have all failed up to this point, and you challenging technology has led to millions of dollars in lawsuits. So I don't know that you actually want that technology smoke this time around.
Yes, but between now and then, we're going to work very hard and very smart to try to make sure that doesn't happen. And so far, given the incredible power they have and they will use ruthlessly, we're beating them as of today. So in the end, I would the president's trial in Georgia's falling apart. I think the judges are on the verge of dismissing the charges against him in Florida. They're delayed in New York City, and they're now delayed in Washington.
Sounds like somebody has some inside info. Tell me more.
So it's not clear that they can have a trial before the election, which is the absolute key to being able to convince people that the reason we lost was because of the trial. Right now, if they steal it, people say, well, that's not possible. Trump is leading in all the polls. They want to try him, suck up his money, suck up his time, and create a reason why their theft is plausible, believable. You see?
Yeah, what stops them from just like voting on like
They in some states it'll be easier to stop them, in other places it won't. But at least this time, when they do it, you have a lawyer and a judge whose home phone number standing by so you can stop him. We made no preparations last time.
Did you say a judge's phone number? Okay, let me get that name and number, please. Let's bring them in on this. Eileen Cannon.
I was at the Capitol, so I'm prepared to go there.
Well, that may not be necessary. There are technical and legal steps that we have to take to try to have a more honest election. We're not there yet, but there are things that can be done. It's a long conversation. I'm working with changes in state law, real-time voter list monitoring, going to court as we just did to challenge some of the voter lists. The election's not tomorrow. We went into court to sue in Michigan over the handling of ballots, which we sued in half a dozen places. And then we're finally now on an offensive footing. Remember, the Republican National Committee raised $200 million and they didn't spend any of it to try to get cleaner elections. Oh, look at what happened last time. We now finally have control of that mechanism. Don't be discouraged.
So
we're going to win.
the RNC is going to spend more money now than ours.
Far more.
Do you want to get a picture?
I'll be
Can I get a picture?
Sure.
Now, many people have challenged the possible legality of this recording, which was clarified right here. But Roger Stone himself couldn't resist the opportunity to reveal that not only is this him, but this is in fact authentic when he posted Incorrect, as you are completely unfamiliar with the circumstances, which is funny. You know who's not unfamiliar with the circumstances? The person that posted the video, and also apparently you, since you are outing yourself for being the one in the video, saying, I will sue Lauren and appeal as many times as may be necessary, get out your checkbook, and of course appealing to women there with that final salvo. I don't think that that courts have been your friend, Roger Stone. So I don't know that that's a place that you actually want to challenge anybody. But I will challenge you. Why are you talking? The first rule of Do Dirt is you do not talk about doing dirt. Like, why are you out here revealing to random people? Obviously, this is not somebody that you had a relationship with. You are out here dry snitching at Mar-a-Lago for the entire plan for Trump to challenge should he lose, which I'm assuming is the expectation since these plans are so thorough. I mean, far be it for me to express dismay that we have this information. I'm very grateful we have this information because it allows the other side to be prepared for it, and I get to talk about it. I get this kind of content, but just on GP, man, what you doing? What you doing, man? By the way, the Trump campaign has launched 62 lawsuits contesting results of the election across the country in 2020. However, they were quickly dismissed or dropped due to a lack of standing or evidence, kind of like if Roger Stone were to challenge this recording. Who could have seen that coming? Who could have seen Roger Stone out here with the loose lips? I mean, it's not like he's been caught slipping before.
Huh?
What was their agenda?
To do a hit job on Roger Stone. I'm sorry, I had people talking in my ear. Start it again. Yeah, how can they do that? Right. Well, you don't understand people. I do. Rod should hold a press conference today and call for Trump's impeachment. That's what I would do. That's what I would do. I'm going to do it. I'm supporting impeachment. I'm supporting impeachment. He must be removed. His son Jared must be prosecuted.
Ooh, he's in bad shape. Hey, somebody get him some water, please.
I want to know how money changed hands on Bannon. I want a federal investigation. I'm filing a complaint with the FBI this afternoon. Fuck these people. Fuck these people. Right. So, right, exactly. Which is why I'm for the impeachment. I want impeachment. I'm going to work very hard for it. I'm not kidding. He betrayed Bernie, betrayed Rudy, he betrayed everybody. So he has to go. He has to go. Run again. You'll get your fucking brains beat in.
Y'all got a Gatorade, Pedialyte, Ensure, anything.
Right, which is good, unfortunately, for Pat, because he's easy to find. Fuck these people. Let's be very clear. There is no Bannon, cocksucker. It's one sentence. So if you're in a meeting and he says that, you punch him in the mouth as hard as you can to make your point. It's one sentence. We're not stupid. There is no paperwork, you cocksucker. He needs to be impeached. He needs to be denounced and impeached. The greatest single mistake in American history. Greatest single mistake. He's surrounded by morons, and he surrounded himself by morons. And a good long sentence in prison, he'll give him a chance to think about it. Because the Southern District's coming for him, and he did nothing. You want to fight? Let's fight. Fuck you. Fuck you and your abortionist bitch daughter.
I gotta wonder, is this Roger Stone's revenge for leaving him twisted in the wind? Is this his revenge for having to go through intake? I mean, why would they let him in on any plans after this video had already gone public? You have to ask those questions. Now, since we're out here recording people on the low, I can only imagine if we were able to get like the Supreme Court, like one of the Supreme Court justices, because they have been a mess. But I know they probably won't talk to strangers.
don't know that we can negotiate with the left in the way that like needs to happen for the polarization to end. I think that it's a matter of like winning.
I think you're probably right. I mean, one side or the other is going to win. I don't know. I mean, there can be a way of working, a way of living together peacefully, but it's difficult, because there are differences on fundamental things that really can't be compromised. They really can't be compromised. So it's not like we're going to split the difference. And it's easy to blame the media, but I do blame them because they do nothing but criticize us. And so they have really eroded trust in the court. I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, ordinary people, ordinary isn't the right word. American citizens in general need to work on this to try to heal this polarization because it's very dangerous. I do believe it's very dangerous.
Let me guess. He's just gonna blame his wife. And I'm sure she is just gonna deny it. I mean, isn't that the thing to do? Would they blame their wives for being the reason why they got into this situation? We saw Alito do it. We saw Clarence Thomas do it. I still believe that, as I said in my previous video, I still believe they're trying to take power away from all women because they have no power in the home. I think that's it. I think they are taking it out on all women because they get told what to eat and when to go to bed. We all have to suffer because you refuse to wear pants in your home. Sad. I bet you would never catch Martha and Alito slipping like that.
I'm sorry, are you Ms. Alito?
I am.
Hi, my name's Lauren. I just met these ladies tonight, but
very cool.
I'm a huge fan of your husband, and
let's stop before we go here.
Everything that you're going through, I just want to tell you that, like,
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
It's not okay, though. It's not okay.
It's okay. It's okay because if they come back to me, I'll get them. I'm going to be liberated, and I'm going to get them.
What do you mean by
Oh, well, there's a 5-year defamation statute of limitations.
But I don't know what you mean by they, like the media. Oh, okay.
Come on, I'll get you. Come on. I was denigrated early on when we first came to town. And the woman then won a Pulitzer Prize. She was commenting on my clothes. She said that I wore a baby blanket one day, and the next time I had on a Lazy Boy recliner pattern suit. And so when she won her Pulitzer,
Excuse me, Martha Ann, I got a question. So she said that you were wearing a baby boy blanket and a Lazy Boy recliner suit, but you haven't denied that you were wearing a baby boy blanket and a Lazy Boy recliner suit. So could she have gotten that Pulitzer just for accuracy?
I called her up and I said, "Hello, is this Robin Gavin of the New York Times?" "Yes, it is." I said, "Oh, I'm so proud of you. You're getting a Pulitzer Prize." I said, "And will you be wearing Balenciaga?" And she goes, "No." I said, "Why not?" She said, "Well, it doesn't flatter me." I said, "Oh, come on. Such a high-end thing, it doesn't flatter you?"
Sorry, I have another question, Martha Ann. Who pronounces Balenciaga like that? Balenciaga! Who pronounces Balenciaga like that, but also is accused of wearing a Lazy Boy recliner suit? Huh? Because I don't know that anybody who says Balenciaga has ever been accused of wearing a baby boy blanket.
And then I said to her, "You know, it's a beautiful day. It's April 2006. I said, "Maybe you want to go outside today in New York. It's really beautiful. Take a walk and enjoy life." She never came after me again, but she went after Jane Roberts again.
Oh, that is definitely a threat. Where's DOJ? Where's DOJ? Can we get the FBI in on this? She out here threatening civilians? What's going on? Oh, okay. Right. Because the Supreme, he gonna find a way to. I know.
Right, but that's, the other thing is the feminazis believe that he should control me.
Yeah.
So we'll go to hell. He never controls me.
It's actually not just the feminazis. It's also anybody who's ever heard you speak.
Look at me. Look at me. I'm German. I'm German. My heritage is German. You come after me, I'm going to give it back to you. And there will be a way. It doesn't have to be now, but there will be a way. They will know. Just don't worry about it. God, you read the Bible. Psalm 27 is my song. Mine. Psalm 27. The Lord is my God and my rock. Of whom shall I be afraid? Nobody. You know what I want? I want a Sacred Heart of Jesus flag because I have to look across the lagoon at the Pride flag for the next month.
Exactly.
And he's like, oh, please don't put up a flag. I said, I won't do it because I'm deferring to you. But when you are free of this nonsense, I'm putting it up and I'm going to send them a message every day. Maybe every week I'll be changing the flags.
When you are free of this nonsense, when you are free of this nonsense, you mean the appearance of impropriety, the appearance of impartiality that comes with being one of the leading jurists in the land, which is the reason why you have the money, power, and prestige that you currently are wielding and flaunting for all the rest of us to see? Is that the nonsense that you're talking about? Because believe me, Martha Ann and Samuel Alito, I would be glad to relieve you of this nonsense. There are millions of Americans that will vote, if possible, to relieve both of you of this nonsense.
There'll be all kinds. I made a flag in my head. This is how I satisfy myself.
I didn't say nothing. I ain't even say nothing.
I made a flag. It's white, and it's yellow and orange flames around it. And in the middle is the word vergogna. Vergogna in Italian means shame. Vergogna. V-E-R-G-O-G-N-A. Vergogna. Shame, shame, shame on you. You know. Anyway.
That's going to be the only shame coming from that household. It's going to be on the flag. I'm telling you. Republicans out here moving sloppier than Brett Kavanaugh at Georgetown Prep. But this is what you need to take away from this. The streets is watching, okay? The streets is watching. And if there's anything we can't put past Republicans, is underhanded dealing. So if this is what's happening to them, I can only imagine what plans they possibly have. So everybody on the left, Jasmine Crockett, Hakeem Jeffries, AOC, all y'all, hey, batten down the hatches, okay? Don't be out here talking free to nobody with no red hats on. Even if it looked like they had a red hat on, they still got the brim around the hairline. It looks like they had a red hat on. Then you know you need to keep it tight. You need to keep it tight. Matter of fact, I don't even talk to nobody wearing red.